Boom. Ugh. Oh man. Hello, people. Pondor is currently probably napping. So whenever he wakes up eventually, if he wakes up at all, he will join us. But essentially wanted to talk about Wrath of the Righteous and all that it has to offer. Let me see if I can get a hold of Pondor though. So, I know a lot of YouTubers or Twitch people do a lot of, thoughts videos after playing games. It's a thing that Code Carnage especially does all the time. And I thought that instead of doing a thoughts video, it would be cool to do like a thoughts Q&A thing. And so that's why we're here. Basically just to talk about my experience with this game and answer any questions anyone has, and hopefully Pondor will join us here in a bit and we can have more of an ongoing discussion instead of just me talking at people. But yeah, this game is probably the best CRPG that I have played. I have played Kingmaker many hours, and it was my favorite at the time. And then I played this game, and it's like they really listened with the things that people said about Kingmaker, the critiques that anyone had, and really just improved upon it and made it like Wrath is so much more of a dark, serious story rather than a Kingmaker had some serious parts, but there was a lot of like comedic aspects to it. Hello, Russia. Nice to have you here. Good to have you. Just kind of talking about my getting into thoughts of Wrath here since I have played it. My friend Pondor, who speedruns Kingmaker, that's his thing. He's like a professional Pathfinder Kingmaker speedrunner. Should be joining us at some point, so that's going to be cool. But what's awesome, like I was saying about this game, like it's so much darker and gritty, and there's so much to it that's just like, wow, I cannot believe they put that in there. And I think that just makes it so much better. I'm sure some people prefer the comedic aspect of it, of like Kingmaker and whatnot, but I thought it was just great. I also love that they took out, like, in Pathfinder Kingmaker, they had dialogue that you had to be a certain alignment for, and they just replaced it in this game with, like, Mythic Path required dialogue, which I think is a lot better, because Mythic Path is actually a thing that you chose to do, and I hate being locked out of decisions because of my alignment. So I really enjoyed that a lot as well. And, I mean, did you play Divinity Original Sin 2? I did play Divinity Original Sin 2. I've played it. I have like over 300 hours in it. And then on Sundays, my streamer friends and I are playing it. So you can catch us checking that out this Sunday. This coming up Sunday. We played last Sunday, but I didn't stream it because I was sick. So I just was on for a little bit, but we are continuing that playthrough on Sunday. So we're just going to be doing kind of a goof off playthrough of it. So that's going to be pretty fun. I know the story of Divinity Original Sin 1 better, and I know that one was kind of the same way. Like, DOS 1 is super comedic and cartoony and whatnot, and DOS 2 I felt like at times was a little bit more serious, but still very comedic and cartoony a lot of the time. So those kind of are in line with Kingmaker, whereas Wrath I think goes to a whole other place entirely, which is extreme. Do I have a PS4? No, I do not have a PS4. I just do PC. I have a Switch and I have a PC, and I don't do PS4 or Xbox or anything like that. So, hey, no worries. No worries. I have a lot of viewers from different countries, so it's all good. It's all good. So yeah, Wrath is, I had such a fun time with it. I feel like there's really so much you can do and so much more replayability than Kingmaker had, with all the different mythic paths you can do. I mean, there's like 9 of them, which is insane. And there are some that turn into others, or some that you can access later, which is crazy. And I mean, I played it once, and I feel like I didn't even get an entire full piece of the puzzle. Like, I got like a possible experience among many. And, I played the Trickster Bard, so I kind of played that chaotic lifestyle, but it would be so cool to like go in and experience the different mythic paths. And I've messed around with some of them. I've played around with Angel and Aeon a little bit. I've played around with the Zada a little bit. We are all friends from everywhere. That is right, Therence. That is correct. Therence, I don't know if you checked it out or not, but you got added into the Wildermyth playthrough that we did yesterday. We made a character for Lord Bovine, and our hunter boy. So, hi, and Beast Tamer is a great class. I know. I did the Bard video, which you might have seen probably. And the Beast Tamer is just so good. It's probably my new favorite summoner class. Like, move over, Monster Tactician. Beast Tamer is here. So I was very excited to see how that worked. just getting all of those buffs for all of your creatures is just insanity. So that's the other thing I love about Wrath is like they added so many classes and like double the archetypes for every class, which is just awesome. And they even added like one specifically for races to play, which is super cool. I love all of that. I barely got past Dresden in Act 2, now on Act 3. I'm worried that I might get overwhelmed in the Crusade management. Marinenor, first of all, so happy to see you. It has been a hot minute since I've seen you in chat, and I'm super glad to see you again. Secondly, honestly, the Crusade management is so much... It's so less overwhelming than Kingmaker is, than the Kingdom management. You fall asleep sometimes while watching. Hey, no worries, man. We all do, right? Like, the Crusade management really isn't that bad. Occasionally, a army will attack one of your forts or your home base or whatever, but it's just not... It's really not that big of a deal. You only need one army, and if you keep building it and keep upgrading it, that one army can take out everything you need to. It's super basic management compared to like Kingdom management for sure. So, and none of the events, like you have event cards, and none of the event cards or anything are timed or anything like that. They just, like, they take days to do, but none of them are crucial. None of them will destroy your army or your kingdom. It doesn't even matter. It's just all extra stuff, which is great. Igor, what's up, man? Do you guys get burned up playing the same game so much, and how do you handle it? Oh my. Honestly, my wife could tell you stories about me when I play the game so much over and over and over, or restart a million times and I get restart-itis. It becomes a gloomy day in our household. I become very irritant and sad, and it's not a good time for my wife at all to be around me. How do I handle it, though? I pretty much just try playing something else that is, like, opposite of what I was playing. So, like, if I do too many like Wrath restarts and I'm like, I can't play Wrath anymore, I start playing a different game. So I'll start playing like some cutesy little indie game or some basic little story game, something super simple without too much mechanic to it. Or if I play too much of a story heavy game, then I'll play something with a little bit more mechanic to it, like RimWorld or XCOM or something like that. Yeah, restart-itis is 100% a thing, and if you play games, you definitely have suffered from it at some point, unless you're like superhuman. But yeah, validation. I'm giving you validation. Yeah, no, I definitely suffer from it all the time, because I restart so much. I do it so much, especially in CRPGs. CRPGs is where it's bad. CRPGs is where it's real bad. But yeah, I just try to play something a little opposite. Or I try to like binge watch a TV show, or I may even play like a phone game for a long while or something. Just something that's like completely different scope than what I've been trying to play, just to get my mind off of it. Or if I have friends around, I'll go hang out with friends, but they aren't always readily available, so I can only do so much. Whatever you can. You need to like replace it with another form of entertainment and escapism, though, because we play these games for entertainment and escapism, right? And so we need to replace it with another form of that to take its place. That way you don't feel like a gaping hole instead of your restart-itis. Manor says, I make custom portraits of TV and movie characters. I even have someone from The Office and Community as PC mates. That's awesome, dude. That's so cool. That's really dope. Yeah, my custom portrait for this game that's on the thumbnail, I purchased from a artist named George84, who's fantastic. So I love his stuff, and I will probably use his stuff for future runs. Can't stand playing anymore. Gonna watch someone else play for the next 4 hours and feel bad about myself for not playing it. Yeah, honestly, you know what? When I had trouble with Restartitis and Kingmaker, I would turn on Ko's Kingmaker streams, and I would start watching it. And honestly, him playing it would make it seem so fun and just kind of like reinvigorate my like desire to play it. So maybe that can help you. I don't know. Like, everyone's different, but that's what I did. I'm doing 10 playthroughs at the same time because I want to try so many things at the same time. Terrence, you are a brave soul. I don't know how you can possibly manage that without just feeling the redundancy of it all, but props. Honestly impressive, because I could never do that. I think I would explode. That would drive me insane. Like, I don't even like having like save files of past games if I restart. Like, I need to clear clean slate, completely clear the table. It's the only way I can function. Mad respect, insane respect. I'm wondering where Pondor is, guys. He said he was gonna go to sleep after his orientation from his job. I convinced him to take a nap, and I think that was a mistake. Have you guys thought about streaming tabletop games? You know what? I am running... Do I like the damn pure race? I will answer your question, Marinor, after I answer Igor's for sure. So I am running a play-by-post, Igor. I'm sure you saw me advertising for it a few times, maybe. I've got 6 people in it. Among those people is Pondor, Sly Dog's in there, Shane's in there, Threed is in there as well, and I am running a play-by-post for Starfinder for them, but it's not like traditional tabletop, it's just play-by-post. So I would love to stream tabletop. I think that would be a really cool thing to do. It's just a matter of having a group that meets consistently and is comfortable with that, I think. But it is something my IRL friends and I have talked about in terms of our tabletop games. There's so many races. I'm curious, do you like the Dampier races? I love the Dampier race. I love anything that's like half one thing and half the other. So I love half elves. I love Dampiers because they're half vampires. I love tieflings, Asimars, all of those half races. I love them because they're like human, but they just have a little bit of extra goodness in them to make them interesting. So I thoroughly enjoy those races a lot. I love the Dampier race. I also love the whole crux of like, you're a Dampier, so everyone assumes you're evil, but maybe you're not, kind of thing. Be cool. Virito, damn it, is the same to me. It's like I got stuck and needed to watch someone else to push me forward in my own game. Yes, exactly. First of all, thanks for stopping by the Q&A. Super appreciate it. Second of all, 100%. That's exactly what I mean. For sure. Relatable. Totally. Yeah. Definitely get that. Yeah. It helps. It helps. Whether you're watching a different game to get your mind off of it or the same game to like push you to play it, like it helps a lot for me. Yeah, Igor, tabletop would be really cool. I would love to do stream tabletop. The only other issue with that is that we don't use any software. We just do Discord voice tabletop. So if I streamed it, it would be like doing a podcast rather than a video, because we don't put anything on video really, besides like rolls and stuff in the Discord servers, because we don't use Roll20 or anything like that. So we just, it would be more like a podcast, but I think it would still be fun to do. I never thought I'd find a game that much longer than Chrono Trigger or Dragon Warrior 7. With these 2 Pathfinder games, I found a couple RPGs even longer. Yeah. I I don't know how long this one even took me to play. It took me 3 days, 1 hour, so 73 hours and 46 minutes to beat it. And I did not do anywhere near a 100% playthrough. Oh, that's in-game days. Wait. How many... I don't know how much game time this actually took me. I'd have to add up all my streams, but I did not do 100% even. And it took a good chunk. Kingmaker, I've done 70-hour playthrough. I've done an over 100-hour playthrough. Just depends on how much you're willing to do. I mean, Elder Scrolls Skyrim is literally endless. That game's literally endless. So that one could definitely go for a long time. But it's not like a CRPG like these are. I think Dragon Age Inquisition took me exactly 2 days to beat. I got it when it came out. And I stayed up 48 hours to play the whole game non-stop besides food and potty breaks. And I fell asleep during the boss battle at the end of Inquisition. And I woke up to the game being beaten. And I don't remember the boss battle at all. Endless. There's a mad lad out there trying to 100%. Oh, seriously? Probably. I don't know how you can, like, even 100% Skyrim, because you can technically, like, continuously improve your skills forever. Like, there's no end to it. May the Danger Lords bless Dark, because holy moly. Will Baldur's Gate 3 be that long? I don't know. I want Baldur's Gate 3 to be long as it's all enjoyable. The thing with Larian Studios for me is that I love their combat, I love their mechanics, okay? They don't ever focus on the story. I feel like with Larian Studios games, all they do is, like, they have, like, a main story, but there's so much side content that feels just as equally big as the main story that it makes the main story, like, fall to the wayside, which I don't love. And, the companions, I don't like the companions in BG3. I just don't. So far, all of the ones we've met, I don't really like any of their personalities at all. I also didn't like the companions that much in DOS 2, and I didn't really love the companions that much in DOS 1, so I don't know if Larian Studios just likes making annoying characters or what, but I could not. But I am playing the whole Baldur's Gate saga on Tuesdays, so that's exciting. Search for Savior of Skyrim after the stream, but don't search for SOS, believe me. I believe the max level of Baldur's Gate 3 might be 13 or less. It's unlikely to be incredibly long CRPG like these. Yeah, I agree. I think I saw somewhere that, like, they said the max level wasn't going to be 20. So, which is kind of disappointing. Like, I kind of want, like, a full campaign, you know? And a full campaign goes from 1 to 20. Or, like, at least 17, 18. So, it's kind of sad that they're doing that. But hopefully, I mean, the upside to Larian Studios games is that they're all 4-player. So, you can play with your friends, which is really cool. Yeah, the companions are made to be too shady, in my opinion, every single one. Yeah, exactly. And they're just, like, they just get upset at just everything. They're so irritated. And it's just like, yo, you guys need to chill out, okay? I cannot. You don't like the frog girl that's angry all the time? How can't you love her? Wait, frog girl. Frog girl. Do you mean, are you talking about Lizelle? Are you talking about, are you talking about the Githyanki? I don't think she's a frog. Or are you talking about the bear girl in DOS 1? The Githyanki, yeah. I heard frog and I thought Githyanki, so I'm thinking you're talking about that. Yeah, the Githyanki is, honestly, I like her more than the other ones. I honestly tolerate her a lot more because she at least has her mind on the game plan. Like, the vampire guy, no thanks. The cleric is edgy as hell and I don't like her. Will is just... He's just a goblin racist. Gale, like, it seems like with Larian's, like, formula for characters is create a character that has some sort of mystery to them that they don't want to talk about, and then make that their whole personality until you get them to open up to you. And I don't like that. Like, in Wrath of the Righteous, there are characters that totally have secrets at my girl Cam. But there are characters that are just straightforward with you from the beginning with everything. They're like, oh yeah, here's all this, here's all this, here's all this. And it's like refreshing that it's a realistic mix of different kinds of people. But like, Larian's companion characters are like the same personality but in different flavors, I feel like. I don't know. Like, even Skyrim has, like, better companions, in my opinion. I'm not gonna lie. Like, and I guess I include modded followers at my girl Cam. I just... My girl Cam! We love Camellia here, right? Don't we love her? And all of her twisted things that she does? She's great. Love her. Romance. Lydia for the win. Lydia for the win. No one has ever carried all of my shit like that. And my problems. Love her to death. I don't know if you guys have ever played modded Skyrim, but there's a follower mod. Inigo! Cool. Inigo's great. There's a follower mod called Lucian, who's written by this, this like writer and author, Joseph Russell. And it is just the most swell, like, companion mod ever. Because he has interaction with, like, a bajillion quests. And you can train him yourself. You can, like, teach him certain spells, teach him certain skills, increase his health and stamina and magicka through leveling up and stuff. Which is just freaking awesome. Like... He's such a cool follower mod. I definitely recommend him. He also has dialogue with Inigo, if anyone's interested in that, and he was updated for the Anniversary Edition. Honestly, Cam was one of my favorite companions of all time. The twist was so good, especially because I'm always trying to redeem evil people, so just meeting someone so twisted was just pure bliss. Yeah, like, she was so well written. Like, I think for the most part, like, most of the companions in here were well written. Like, very well written. And Camellia was just so good. Like, her story was so intriguing. I was just hooked on it. I was hooked in. And as much as I hate Wenduag, I really liked her questline too. Like, she was pretty much a bottom feeder right down to the very end. Like, tried to, like... You know, she did what she did, and then at the end, if you want to take her back, she'll just be like, yeah, okay. And it's just like, you really just have no no shame, do you? They're really well written. I think some of them are annoying as people, but I think all of them are well written. Yeah, exactly. 13-year-old tries to be at their first table. Oh my god, that's so good. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Real life shitty coworker. Yes. Beautiful description. Absolutely. Yeah, I hated her and Lan as people, but I like them as written characters. But I hated both of them as people. I can't stand either one of those kinds of people. Like, I'm a lawful neutral person, and Lan got the shit on my nerves. He was just like, why are we standing here negotiating when we can just kill people? And it's like, dude, why are you on the diplomatic council if you're not going to choose diplomacy? You always wake up and choose violence. Why? Why? Like, what is wrong with you, dude? Oh my gosh, I'm sorry you were abandoned as a child or whatever, and people hate you because you're a mongrel. But like, our solution to everything can't be, look, we can just do what we want because we have the power. He's the annoying friendly guy with bad jokes, and then she's the backstabbing bitch that learned that the only way to climb the corporate ladder. Yeah. Desperately trying to, like, have sex with anyone she can. My god. I really love, Darren. I love Darren to death, both as a written character and as a person. Darren is probably my favorite companion, because I think Darren is probably one of the only ones. Darren and Regil are probably the only two that I liked as a person and also liked the way they were written, both sides. So I liked both of those guys a lot. They're both evil, which I don't know what that says about me, but I love them both a lot. Woljif was great at the end. I hated Woljif in the beginning. I like refused to use him hardcore because he annoyed the hell out of me, but he was cool at the end. Greybor was cool, if a bit too little interaction with him, I guess. He just didn't ever say much. I like Social. He just gets kind of edgy, though. Urushale is cool. I like that you can turn her good or evil. It's kind of a cool aspect of it. Sela is like my preferred kind of paladin. I still don't like her as a person. I think she would get on my nerves. She's kind of like the camp counselor that like wants to be your friend instead of the camp counselor. But she's not. Cam, I love the way she was written. I would never, ever romance anyone like that in real life, but I love the way she was written. Between Jathal, Darren, Regil, and Ragongar and Camellia, Alcat made me realize I'm not a good friend. Those are literally all of my favorite companions. Igor, we are the same. Those are literally all my favorites. Jathal and Ragongar are so good. They're so good. Oh my god. Ha! That's hilarious, dude. Literally all of those are my favorite people. So good. Ragongar was great. Jathal is a queen. I worship the ground she walks on and corrupts as she goes. Could not love her more. Man. Excellent. So since he's still not here, how did you meet Pondor? Oh, okay, cool. We're telling this story. So, I think it's just because they are who they are, whether people like it or not. Yeah, there's something admirable about that. Viriato, like that. There's something admirable about that for sure. So Pondor. So what happened was, over the summer, after I started streaming, I started looking up other Pathfinder Kingmaker streamers, and I would just go on Twitch and searched for streamers that had like very few viewers because I actually wanted to talk to people, and people with huge chats, you can't talk to them. So I found Sly Dog. And he and I talked for a good while. I went to a number of his streams. He showed up in some of mine. We started like plugging each other's channels. So he was like, if you ever need guide videos, go check out UnsungNPC stuff. And I was like, if you ever want to go watch someone else after my stream's over, go watch Sly Dog, because he always streams after me or before me. And so it was a really cool thing we had going. And then we were in this Discord server together, because he wanted to, like, we talked about doing Kingmaker together on a run through or something, and it was him and me, and then Pondor was in there as well, and then Pondor's friend Siltrus, and so Pondor and Sly Dog and I were all talking and hanging out in there and whatnot, and then eventually we all created our own Discord servers for our respective channels, which we all discussed thoroughly before we created them. And then and then Pondor and I just started hanging out, and the thing is, like, Sly Dog moves on to other games a lot and really gets into them, and he didn't stay on Kingmaker after it was done. He didn't get onto Wrath when Pondor and I did. And so Pondor and I became closer friends because we were always doing Wrath's stuff together and Kingmaker stuff together constantly. And I was always doing that kind of content. So he and I grew close because of that, and we probably know both games like the back of our hands, really. Well, Sly Dog is definitely a little bit more variety. I mean, I do variety of games too, but I don't, like, do it as, like, you know, I played Wrath straight until I was done, right? So Potter and I have kind of grew closer because of that. We've had some Discord calls together a few times, and now here we are doing streams together and whatnot. I found Sly's channel via your shameless plugs, and his vids reawoken a hidden desire I had for the Dragon Age franchise. Yeah, he played through those. I watched him play most of Origins, and then I watched him start DA2, but when he started getting further into DA2 and Dragon Age Inquisition, I was busy doing all of my content stuff, so I couldn't go watch him as often, and he changed his schedule, so, like, our schedules didn't line up the same way that they used to, because I used to, like, watch him in the morning and then stream, but then he changed to evening, so we would stream at the same time sometimes. But yeah, I love the Dragon Age series, and I will definitely play the Dragon Age series on my channel at some point for sure. I would like to wait until DA4 becomes a thing, but it is in the plans to play it. Those are, like, the Dragon Age series is the first RPG series that I ever played. Well, DA1, DA Origins and 2 were the first ones that I ever played. And then I played the whole Mass Effect trilogy, and then I played Inquisition when it came out. And since then, I've been hooked on RPGs. And I played those late. Like, I played those all in 2014. 2014 was when I played those. End of my high school, start of my college career. So I didn't get into the RPG game until pretty late on, but I've been obsessed since. I did play SWTOR before that. So I had known BioWare. I had known about BioWare because they wrote everything for SWTOR, for Star Wars Online. But, and I'd been playing that since it literally came out. But I didn't check out their other games until later on, because I grew up with brothers, so I had a bunch of, like, multiplayer shooters that we always played. We never really played games on our own, right? So, yeah, but I got into it. I will do Dragon Age at some point. I'm going to do Pillars of Eternity 1 and 2 before Avowed comes out as well, once we get a more for sure date on when that comes out. So I'm very excited for that as well. Oh, and Pondor and I are actually going to be co-oping a video series as well. Jonathan, I tried Inquisition, but the story on it kind of was meh. I liked Inquisition's story. I liked it a lot. I thought it was cool. Then again, I'm also someone who actually likes DA2 and the ending of Mass Effect 3, while most people didn't like those things. So maybe I'm just easily pleased. Long stories were never translated to my language, especially during my childhood. So I only discovered them recently. Yeah. I get that for sure. I mean, I don't relate to that, but I get it. Like, I came at it late as well. So I'm with you there. But yeah, they're just fantastic. Which do you believe is better, Dragon Age or Elder Scrolls? Both suck because you can't be a magic dwarf in any of them. Oh, man. We have a dwarf lover. Here's what I will say. I will say that the Dragon Age series is better than almost all of the Elder Scrolls games, in my opinion. Especially Morrowind and Oblivion. I think those are not nearly as good as Dragon Age. But if you add mods into Skyrim, I think Skyrim is way better than, like, pretty much anything else in an RPG that I've played. Like, Skyrim with mods is literally just like an open world, live your life fantasy simulator, and it's as close as you get to, like, a fantasy life simulator, pretty much. So I love Skyrim. It has this very special place in my heart. Same for me, not a single RPG for me as a child without learning English first. Yeah, it's a great sandbox for other people's content, for sure. But the base of it is still solid. I mean, when it came out, it was great. When it came out, it was doing things that no other RPG had done before. Ever. Which is cool. But yeah, for sure, modded Skyrim is king to me. I would love to do a modded Skyrim playthrough with the new anniversary stuff on my channel at some point. I just cannot fit it into my schedule right now. But it never goes out of style, so you never know, we might get around to it. First RPG was Final Fantasy game where you had that gun sword and were a school student. Time paradox ending, I don't know. Oh, okay. I never played any of the Final Fantasy games except for Final Fantasy Advanced, where the first combat is a kid's snowball fight. That was the only one I played, and after that fight, I decided that the game was boring. Simon, Mysticism, Aetherius, Mundus. No. Final Fantasy VIII. Oh, what up, Sonic? Yeah, I haven't played any of the Final Fantasies. Just Final Fantasy Advanced. Because when I was a kid, I just had a Game Boy. That was it. Simon stuff. I've heard of Mysticism, but no. I usually use... What's the mod creator? He does like the perk overhaul. He has like a magic overhaul. He has like vampire, werewolf overhaul. He has literally an overhaul for everything, and then he does like Smilodon combat overhaul. He does all of that stuff. I do that guy's stuff for all of my gameplay overhauls for Skyrim. And then I do a bunch of graphics mods and a bunch of like skeletons for the creatures and a bunch of like new art for the creatures and armor. Oh, that's him? Okay. I guess those are just like, yeah, mysticism sounds familiar. I don't think I've played with Aetherius or Mundus. Are those like, I don't know about those. I only play Special Edition as well, because you really should play Special Edition. Honestly. I've heard really good things about Vampire the Masquerade, and I have some friends that really want me to play it. But again, it's just a matter of being able to buy it and fit it into my schedule. And the best mod, fuck the blades and the side with Parthenax. Absolutely, Parthenax Dilemma. So the guy that I'm talking about is named Enai Saiyan. So he does like Ordinator perk overhaul, and he has a bunch of other ones. He does Apocalypse, Imperious, Andromeda, Wildcat, Summer Mist, Thunderchild, Growl, Sacrosanct, Winter Sun, Triumvirate. Never played the comp version of Vampires, but I did play the tabletop. Oh, cool, yeah. Such a classic. Love to see your reaction to a Vacuum playthrough, but for the first run, you need to go with your fave clan. Hey, you know what? It's added to the list, alright? Skyrim is on my list, and now Vampire the Masquerade is on my list. So whenever we can get to those, we will try to get to those. I'm trying to, because I've got Wildermyth going, we've got Baldur's Gate Saga going, and DOS 2 going, and I feel like that's enough big RPG for right now for me. And then, on Mondays, Chaotic Governor and I are playing various games. Eventually, I want us to play Wasteland 3 since it's co-op as well. And then, yeah, on Saturdays is all my squad games. Squad games! Parthenax lives no other moral choice. Never formed the blades in my games. I like forming the blades because it's fun to make companions become blades, but Parthenax is a bro. For sure. This has just become like UnsungNPC's video game history Q&A actually, which is fantastic and fine by me. I'm happy to answer anything about the games that I play or have played or will play, or about Pathfinder, whatever anyone wants. Squad games! Squad games! I kind of like the old Blade dude, Delphine needs to chill, but Delphine needs to chill like yesterday. Yeah, Delphine's a bit much, but yeah, I like Esbern. Esbern's great. He's so fascinated by everything. It's so cool. I love him. He's a true lore master. True lore master. Sonic, are we playing squad games tomorrow night? Are we playing more Back 4 Blood? I have a broader question about the video games versus tabletop experience. Which feels more like Pathfinder to you? To me, the stuff like BG and Sword Coast Legends was always off-putting. Okay. So, if you were in Glory, which... Okay, these are all great questions. Okay, so, in my opinion, the tabletop is always going to feel more like Pathfinder or D&D or whatever tabletop we're doing to me, because in tabletop you will always have the full access of whatever you can do and whatever you want to be, compared to a video game where they have to limit races and classes. Yeah, because the point is that customizability. Exactly. And the video games limit that heavily, for sure. So I'm totally on board with that. Like, tabletop is definitely where it feels the most real, you know? And then video games can fall flat sometimes, especially... I mean, BG3, from what I've played, is kind of hit or miss so far. And yeah, Sword Coast Legends was just what it was. There's a reason Sword Coast Legends isn't really a thing anymore. But I do think Owlcat did a great job with the Pathfinder games, because you can pretty much, like, they stuck with the core races in the first one. They added a few more in the second one, but not every race. But there's like a bajillion Pathfinder races, right? But they really put in like a ton of customization stuff compared to other games, like a crap ton. Like, so many archetypes per class, so many classes, like over 20-something classes. It's just so much. So I think they did a really good job compared to other RPGs, but it's still not the full tabletop, right? Still not the full thing, for sure. But yeah, tabletop is where I feel at home, you know? It's where it feels the most, I'm most in the game. If I were in Galorian, which class would you be? Oh, man. I feel like if I lived in Galorian, I would be a bard, but not like a charismatic singing and dancing kind of bard. I feel like I would be a bard in the sense of collecting all of the knowledge and lore and having a little bit of magic, and basically I would be a lore master prestige class with a bard baseline. That's what I think I would be. Because I do like to entertain and to teach and educate, and I feel like bards can do both of those things. So I feel like I would be a, like, you know, just like knowledge lore-seeking bard turned lore master. I feel like that's what I would end up being. Because I like hoarding all of the lore, all of the knowledge, all of the content. That's my thing. I love that. So that's definitely what I would be. For sure. Clearly you'd be an NPC. Yeah, I would just be an NPC. I'd be a local librarian. Unsung would be the tutorial guy. That's literally why I created my name as UnsungNPC. You'd be that blind elf. Yeah, I'd be a freaking storyteller. Oh man. Okay, literally, I created. But look, I made you some content. Daddy made you your favorite. Open wide. Yes, yes. Ah, Bo, what a guy. I literally made my username like a whole year before I created my channel. I created my username, UnsungNPC, and created my Twitch channel thinking that I was going to start streaming on Twitch, and I never did for an entire year. Because I decided that I never had time, never had the right equipment, never felt like doing it. And then I became, you know, I started doing the tutorial vids earlier this year and just continued with the name that I was using, UnsungNPC, and made it a whole thing. But I came up with the name like a year ago, and I literally came up with it because I was like, I want to be like the walkthrough tutorial guy, the unsung NPC that gets no credit or recognition. And that's why I did it. That's the name. That is the origin. Yes to squad games, or failing that, Crowdcast Revisited. For sure. For sure. I'm down for either of those. So yeah, I mean, I would love to kill some zombies. If we can get some people in to kill some zombies, I would love to kill some zombies. But Crowdcast is a good backup, if not. We'll have to see. Not every hero wears a cape. Some of them just wear hoodies and sweatshirts all day. Like me. There's a lot behind that name, never would have guessed. Yeah, I really put some thought into it, actually. And it just sounds nice. Unsung NPC, I just feel like it sounds nice rolling off the tongue to me, personally. But I wanted something that stuck out and that didn't exist. And just came up with what I could. And I did check to make sure that it did not exist before I did it. I searched everything that I could to make sure an unsung NPC was not already a thing. It's very important. Igor, this is a bit of a backtrack, but I wanted to talk about you mentioned how like I was talking about how like it's good to have kind of like a game palette cleanser. And I had restartitis with Wrath for off-stream playthroughs, and so I gave up on it, and I started playing Emily is Away. I started playing Emily is Away 2, and then I played Emily is Away 3, and if none of you have played those games before, it's like one of them, the second one starts out as an AOL messenger, and then the third one is you on Facebook, and you have different characters that you chat with and interact with and stuff, and you just choose your dialogue option and then type whatever, and it types out what your character says. And it's a really cool concept. And they get like the other characters that chat you can send you like YouTube links, and it gives you click on it and it opens up an actual tab in your browser that's like a fake YouTube that has the music video that they're trying to show you playing. And one takes place in 2006. The second one takes place. The third one takes place in 2008. And it's just the most horrific, stressful, anxiety-filled throwback of my life. Because the romantic interactions you have and the friendship interactions you have are so cringy middle school and high school. And the music is all that 2000s music, like rock and punk, and it's just like being transported back in time. Yeah, I started playing Pokemon Unite with my boyfriend to cleanse my palate, but still can't play Wrath Righteous for more than 20 minutes per day. Yeah, it's so hard, man. It's so hard. Oh, man. AOL Messenger, right? I only had AOL, like, AOL/Yahoo Messenger or whatever for like a couple of years in middle school before Facebook really became a thing. But yeah, man, what a time. It's too much. Yeah, so what I was gonna say earlier, Pondor and I are going to do these videos together where we dive deep into the auto builds that the game has set up for all of the classes for the main character and the companions, and talk about all of those problems with the auto builds, because the auto builds in this game are not great. They are not great. There's a lot of things where like Pondor has like auto built characters and he's just like, why would my companion have this? So we're gonna be doing those videos together and publishing those on my channel. So I'm very, very excited about that. Doing those videos with him. He came up with the idea today, so I'm super stoked. Those are gonna be cool. Just talking about the auto builds. Do you know the source material for this game, like the Wrath of Righteous tabletop books? I do not. I knew of the Kingmaker tabletop source material. I had run Kingmaker before, and I'd played it with the party for a bit, and I had read up on it. So I knew about the Kingmaker tabletop before I played Kingmaker, but I did not know about Wrath before playing Wrath. Because most... You can ask Sonic this, but most of our tabletopping is, like, homebrew worlds. Like, we just use the games for the systems, and then we just completely homebrew our own countries and our own stories. Completely. Are you going to address that hideous medium armor focus in Social's build? Abso-fucking-lutely. I hate that. I hate that. Like, he should have heavy armor focus. He has no dexterity. What does he need medium armor for? Just give him some full plate. Like, he doesn't need medium armor. He has no dex. His dex is crap. Give him some full plate and call it a day. Make him something worthwhile. He just gets smacked around because he wears medium armor with no dex. But I'll get into that when we do the video. We kind of use a combo of Greyhawk and Forgotten Realms lore and use it as a jumping off point. Yeah, sometimes we do. Yeah, which is crazy to me because I honestly don't feel like I know anything about D&D 5e lore. Like Forgotten Realms, I'm just like, I have no idea. But Pathfinder, I know like the back of my hand. Like, I know the world so well. I know the gods really well. The cosmology, all of it, super well. But I barely know anything about Forgotten Realms. Politically focused. Imagine that. Yeah. LOL. Jonathan knows. Jonathan knows. He's been to the Stardew streams. Also Imagine, because your name is Imagine. LOL. Makes me wish they put Bladed Brush in the game and let him as an Ecclesiathurge. Yeah. Yeah. Ecclesiathurge would have been so much better. He could have replaced Darren for like people who want all good parties or something. That would have been a good opportunity. But, you know, that is what it is. My Starfinder game that I'm running right now is actually based on our homebrewed lore, which we have like a running Google document that's like an entire timeline throughout the history of our combined campaigns lore for our homebrewed worlds. And I have a Starfinder campaign that I'm doing that's now years in the future from that. Replace Darren the Heresy. I know, but goody goodies might wanna. I'm not saying I would, but you never know. And in my Starfinder game, I actually kept the god Grotus from Pathfinder and made him part cyborg, and now all of these AI machines worship him and await the day that they finally rust away into nothingness, just like Grotus would want. I really need to update. Yeah. I have a Starfinder timeline that I put together, so that I'm putting together right now, and I'm gonna probably add that to it after the fact. But I have like a Starfinder timeline going for my game. You made a mix of your homebrew with the game lore. Really enjoyed that. Yeah, I tried to start that out that way. I tried to start that out that way with my three adventurers from working under Jeffy the Magical Gnome, who's had a role in many different campaigns in our homebrew. But I ended up falling off of that because when I started streaming the game instead of making the videos, I cared more about helping everyone do like a walkthrough version of it instead of actually paying attention to my game. Because I'd already played Kingmaker a bajillion times. So that's it kind of fell flat in the streaming end, but I was there just to tutorial. Because androids are immortal unless they malfunction, so it's kind of a fate worse than death. Well, it's not androids though. It's just robots. Like basic hardware, bulky machines with AI cores that would deteriorate and rust away on their AI planet. And then, I mean, if the AI has no base to go into at all, then it will dissipate. It can only exist within, a system. And if there's no systems anymore, then, but they'll rust away if they don't maintain themselves, because metal is metal. So that's the idea behind it. But I thought that was a cool, like, revamped version of Grotus. So I thought that was interesting. I liked it a lot. Have I ever played Soma? What is that? I don't think so. Guess not if I asked what is that. Soma? Soma is a survival game? Oh. Oh, I know about this. No, I have not. I have not played that. But I've heard about it. I've heard about it. Literally the only games that I really play off stream these days are either dating sims or life sims. Like that's it. I love Grotus. Yeah, Grotus is great. So I've been playing like the Emily is Away games. There's this game called Growing Up that I've played, where you start as a baby and then you go through like your entire life kind of thing. Until you graduate high school and get a job. And then I've also been playing like just different narrative simulation type games, basically. That's what I do in my free time because it's so easy and mind-numbing. I don't have to focus on it like I do when I stream, which is a nice break from that. Oh man. If Pondor doesn't come on, I feel like I should be playing something casual while we chat. I feel like I should be playing something casual while we chat. I don't know. What would we want to do, though? We just start a secret Wrath run right here that no one else knows about? No. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I need to be doing something. It's weird to just be talking to you guys and not, like, playing at the same time. It's really bizarre. Some background gaming. Exactly, we need some background gaming. What should we do? I have lots of casual games. But I don't know what to play. Kill Ember on the spot! No. CK3, CK2. I have played CK before, and for me, they're not very casual. They're very stressful. But I have played those. Game of Life. I was literally just thinking Game of Life. I was literally just thinking it. Game of Life. Dude, that game is so funny and so easy to play and just doesn't matter. It's so inconsequential. Until the very end when it gets real tense. Do we play Game of Life? Is that what we're doing? Is that what we're doing tonight? Are we playing the Game of Life? Oh shit. Is that real? Is that real happening? Let's do it. Yes. Okay, I need my Steam to chill out for a sec, but yeah. I have thousands of hours in all CK games. Jeez, man. That's crazy. I guess I always try to play with other people on CK as well, which can ruin it sometimes. Does anyone else have the Game of Life that would like to play? The Game of Life 2. It's called the Game of Life 2. It's a pretty cheap game on Steam. It's just literally Life, the board game. You can also play it on Switch. But if anyone has it and wants to play, it would be super fun. The Game of Life 2? I have to install it real quick, but it's literally 400 megabits. So it's almost done. They came out with a new Lunar Age. What? Oh, it's coming soon. Whoa. But they're not going to revamp the events, probably. Freaking. Come on, man. You had the first version on mobile? I got you. Game of Life is so good, to be honest. Oh, Sonic created the game. I see. Are we hopping in, Sonic, are we hopping in chat? Are we getting in the Discord chat? Should we do that? Let me make sure the audio's good, because this music is pretty loud. Can be. I think it just is what it is. Do you miss any classes or races in Wrath of the Righteous and Kingmaker? I mean, my fave is, hang on. Playing Game of Life 2 if anyone wants to join. Okay. I'm in the stream chat whenever he gets in. Yeah. I totally missed some stuff. How's the audio for the music, guys? Is the music too loud? Let me know if the music's too loud. But I totally missed some classes. I mean, Alchemist is my favorite, so I don't really have, like, my bigness, because I have Alchemist there. But, I mean, I like the psychic classes. I love, it's kinda loud. Yeah, okay. Hang on a sec. It's because this game audio doesn't have, like, its own audio in game, which is frustrating. There we go. That is much better. We don't need the volume for this game at all. Let me get in the lobby. Heck yeah, I'm in it to win it. Dude. But yeah, I love the Psychic classes. I love Psychic. I played Psychic in my Kingmaker playthrough with the Call of the Wild mod. I love Occultist. I love Spiritualist. I think those are all three really cool classes. But if you add in Psychic stuff, you have to add in like a whole other mechanic or whatever. A whole other thing, which is probably why they did not do it. But I love the Psychic stuff a lot. So much. So much. I'm freaking ready. Anyone else want to join? This is your chance. I posted in the Discord, but I don't know if anyone really even has this game. It's really not expensive if you want to get in on it. It is hella fun. But it's if you don't want to, it's cool. We can all chat here while Sonic and I play. Familiar with the second edition? I've played a couple sessions of it, and it's more like I know that the action economy is different, and I do like the way they do actions a lot. But besides that, I haven't looked at second edition much. I did when it first came out, but not since any other stuff has been updated. So I kind of know how it works, but not completely. Just kind of waiting for it to completely fill out before I do it. Oh, over 1 a.m. That's okay, man. That is okay. Do not worry about it. Oh shoot, Joshua and Victor. Who are who are these guys? Wait. Who are they? Don't worry about it, guys. It's fine. We can all chat here. We'll all chat on the Discord. It's cools. Who is this? I don't know who these guys are, but this is awesome.
Alright, forgive me. I was not expecting to stream today.
No, it's fine. Also, we have 2 people in here that I don't know who they are, but they're here.
Whoa, no, they're AI.
Oh, they are?
Yeah, I did the great. You just thought. Wait, did you think that they were people from the Discord or just like random people playing the game of life too?
Well, I thought they got the code and joined in. You just posted the code in there.
Yeah, but no, I think if I posted the code in Discord and someone decided to join, we would know about it.
I don't know. I thought something was happening. My bad.
Would just show up unannounced. They're just AI. They're just AI. Don't worry. You don't have to interact with new people.
Oh my god.
Person who streams publicly several nights a week.
That's so funny though. Okay.
Yeah.
Here we go. A fairy tale kingdom where only half of it is fantasy and the other half is still modern day.
Didn't someone pay money to get this map?
I think we all paid.
We all paid.
Because you guys bought the like deluxe edition thing, and I paid for the DLC for this map specifically.
My God. What? I'm just starting to really question my life choices now. I forgot that I ever did that.
All right, Victor, where you going? Yeah. Ooh, he's a fairy. Look at you, Victor. Oh no, he's Oracle. Just kidding. I had the fairy cards stay up there then. That's weird. He's an Oracle.
Oh, God. Yeah, I remember getting that I had like the deluxe edition or something because I had the like bone motorcycle or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, how did you get that?
Yeah. Already has a house, Victor.
Victor might be a bot, but that crab costume is just adorable. Well, do I have do I have a friend for you? His name is Contiguous Kitty Cat, and he never shuts the fuck up about crabs. So you guys get along great.
There's literally a game right now that's like a mock version of Squid Game. That's called Crab Game.
Nice. Okay. College or career? Definitely college.
College!
Never, ever, ever make money.
Look, if it's only going to cut my money in half and not actually put me in debt, you might as well go for it. In the actual board game of life,
in real life, yeah, you go negative immediately.
Yeah.
All right, here's the thing. You would think that as a guitarist, I would say get guitar lessons, but I'm self-taught, meaning I can't really read sheet music, so I'm gonna get a rare comic book.
Yeah, I can't read music at all. I had to quit band because of it.
Oh.
Even as a percussionist, like, because like if you're, I wasn't good enough at drumming to not be on the xylophones and marimbas, and I cannot read music, so.
I remember one time when I was working on a short film and I was doing the music and I got these claves, and I was like, how do I play claves? And you're like, you hit them together.
Yeah. Well, you gotta have to hit them in a certain way to get the fullest sound, but there's different ways you can hit them. Yeah, they're fun.
Yep. But then also, like, the mic that I was recording with was so low quality that, like, it literally clipped. I was just, like, playing this so aggressively that the audio, like, clips. It's
Tell me
ridiculous.
how I got the same exact things as you. This is just
I could, but then I'd have to kill you.
This is absurd. Okay, timer. Jeez, I'll take.
Wait, like 1-to-1? Like you got like the same role and everything?
No, like yeah, I'm on your space, and I got guitar lessons and super comic books.
Huh. Super weird.
Are they stuck on each space? Like each space has like set options.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Those are mapped to that space specifically. So
Okay.
anyone who lands on it will get those 2 options.
Got it.
That's true. They're not randomized.
That didn't really happen a lot before, so
Almost never. Yeah.
yeah.
Or it was usually not on one of those yellow spaces. It would usually be one where it's like more obvious that everyone would get the same result.
Yeah.
Like a marriage space or whatever.
I'm glad that like Viriato and Igor and Jonathan all came on and were like, yeah, let's talk about games and stuff. And then we started talking about stuff that wasn't Pathfinder, and now we're playing fucking Life.
Well, the point is you could just, like, you just have to hit the same button, or you just have to click.
Yeah.
Like, I could completely not pay attention to anything that's happening on my Switch right now and just hit A, and it would be, like, make no difference.
Yeah.
Probably an equal chance of winning, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
Get
so
fucked, Joshua.
If anyone else has any other questions or things they want to mention or talk about, please tell us. Give us something
Please,
to.
yeah. This is just some, like, background noise. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. It really is. But it's more fun than just sitting with the main menu for Wrath on in the background.
Yeah. I guess because it says that you're streaming Wrath, then the music isn't a problem, right? Because or game music generally isn't a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just
for a hot
just
minute.
wasn't doing anything with it. But yeah, no, you can do game music if you're like putting on what game you're doing. If it's like from the game specifically. If it's music they brought into the game, then that's an issue, obviously.
Then it might get DMCA'd.
Modern problems require modern solutions, and Game of Life is in the best of them group.
Hell yeah, Igor.
Man, Shane and I played Wildermyth last night, and Igor was like one of the last characters we created, but we already had so many males, so he was like, just make me a girl, and we made Igora, the wizard.
Igora?
And
Is that a real name?
Yeah, no, but we named her Igora because it's Igor, but feminine.
Feminized, but I'm asking is no one. I'm sure someone is named Igora.
Probably somewhere, but I've never heard it.
Someone somewhere. Yeah, I mean, you've heard of like Adasha, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like there's someone named Igora.
Yeah, but it was we had Wildermyth is such a fucking adorable ass game. It's so good.
Yeah. Okay, I gotta spin.
Yeah. If anyone ever wants to watch that playthrough, rip our warrior Goror, because he was one that we didn't make. We found him in an event, and he died a legend.
I'm gonna watch a game stream.
No!
On stream!
No!
Who is my favorite variety slash RPG streamer?
Well, I had to take a loan because of the wedding, right?
I don't know.
I think so. Fuck that.
I was sure that 2 was my bonus spot, and then I landed on 2, and then I paid money, so I have no idea what's going on.
It's the one with the brown star.
Oh. Brown star. All right. Sorry. I was gonna make a middle school joke. Regardless, you see where I'm going with that?
Yes.
So let me say this: the legendary, influential new metal outfit Limp Bizkit. Their debut album, which put them on the map, was actually their first one was self-titled, but their debut album that put them on the map, right? Their breakout album is called Chocolate Starfish and the Hot Dog Flavored Water. Yeah, and of course there's also like the lore of what a Limp Bizkit even is, which is also disgusting. The point being that they're trying to be like self-aware in this like third act of their careers. So the latest album they released is called Limp Bizkit Still Sucks. So the name of the album is Still Sucks. But you just like read it all the way through. And it's like, yeah, it's exactly what Bo says actually inside, which is like being self-aware doesn't excuse anyone of anything.
Exactly, yeah. Igor says, wow, this became a little Inception-y. To me, for me. Yeah, you don't have a space yet because you don't have a job.
Oh, right. Yeah, I've moved 4 spaces this entire game.
Also, I also watched a stream while streaming.
Yes.
Lots of non-binary representation here.
Yeah, the Game of Life 2 is on the cutting edge, actually. The Game of Life 2 is on the cutting edge of non-binary representation in all of media, actually.
And it's not because it's so good, it's because other media is just heavily lacking.
This is correct. Correct. I don't know if the rest of the chat will understand what non-binary, like, I'm sure they can put one and one together and be like, oh, non-binary, but do you want to explain the reference?
Oh, right, non-binary is, it's non-binary, but Sonic likes to do this thing, that he quotes often, if you want to do it.
Yeah, so there's a meme, one of my favorite memes ever, and it's POV. You come out to Joey Wheeler from Yu-Gi-Oh! And he goes, use non-binary. That's cool. It's one of my fucking favorite things ever.
Oh god.
I love the character of Joey Wheeler so much.
I hate when these AI like do competitions with the other AI because it's just completely inconsequential.
I haven't taken my 3rd turn. What are these motherfuckers doing? Like Oh, here I am. Alright, interesting. Jeez, dude.
Hey!
Okay, I get to
Thank
pay
you.
Money, and now I'm in the negative, having taken 3 turns. Wow, this is going very poorly for me.
Oh my god. I need to roll again at least.
Wait, does that stop me, or do I keep
You
going?
roll again.
Yeah.
Are you gonna be a mage like me?
Yeah.
Yeah, mages. We have 2 mages and 2 druids.
Hey,
That's you.
okay. We got something. And I move a long way. Although, like, moving a long way isn't necessarily, like, beneficial.
Yeah.
Watch another game stream.
Oh my god.
I'm gonna watch a VOD of one of your streams while can you pull up instead of fuck Game of Life, can you pull up a VOD of one of your previous streams and you're gonna react to one of your previous streams on stream?
No, I'm like Bo Burnham's little thing that he
Yeah.
did. God. I cannot.
I don't like this. I'm shutting it off. I want
Yes.
it to stop. I'm shutting it off. I'm shutting it off.
I've gotten my own star like twice in a row now. Heck yeah, dude. Let's stay single. The path of knowledge is a lonesome one. Bingo.
So,
Hey, nice.
now that I'm here and I can talk to you via voice,
Yo,
I'm gonna interview a little bit.
do it.
At the end of the day, it seems like Wrath of the Righteous, you're much happier with Wrath of the Righteous, that you think that in pretty much every way, it's an improvement over Kingmaker, yes?
Yeah.
Can you
sure.
walk me through why?
So, so basically, I feel like the companions are all written better. In Kingmaker, there's a couple of good companions that are like written well, and in Wrath, I feel like all of them, for the most part, are written well. Have more interesting stories, have a lot more depth to them, so that's a big plus. Crusade management is still fun with not being as overbearing as Kingdom management. And you don't have to like run the risk of like everything's going to get destroyed before you can even beat the game, because it's just not that hard, Crusade management. The story's darker and grittier, which I like a lot. I prefer a darker, grittier story than a kind of comedic one, which Kingmaker's really comedic. And then, I mean, there's more classes, more races, more archetypes for your classes, more spells. It's just a lot more of everything. And the mythic paths are cool. And also, in Kingmaker, they had dialogue that was restricted to certain alignments, and they did away with that in Wrath and made only mythic path restricted dialogue, which is fine because you chose your mythic path. Because I hated like not being able to do big game-changing things because I didn't have the correct alignment, even though I felt like I should be able to do it. Like having to be chaotic to like bring in trolls and kobolds into your nation sucked. I was like, I don't want to have to be a chaotic character to do that. So it's just more and better and like pretty every conceivable way in my opinion. So yeah.
Obviously the graphics are better, but do you also think that? Well, let me ask you.
Oh, the music's better for sure.
The music was better. Do you think the art style was changed significantly?
Not overly significant. I say the UI has completely changed, and I like the UI a lot better. It's a lot less. Some of the UI elements in Kingmaker were very like are verging more on like being 3D, if that makes sense. And Wrath stuck with more of a like streamlined, more completely 2D type of UI, but it still had like the gothic elements that kind of went with like the darky, gritty game of Wrath. And it just made everything a lot smoother, loading a lot smoother. And it looked really nice, very sleek. I liked it a lot. But like the particle effects got better. The graphics overall got. There's some cool particle effects things they did with like the mythic paths powers, which were really awesome. But I mean, a lot of it is similar to Kingmaker, for sure.
All right, so then let's get to Igor's comment. I still like Kingmaker's story more than Wrath of the Righteous because it's less of a chosen one thing, more of a you built this with your hands, bro. Congrats.
Yeah, I completely see that, and I love that aspect of it too because I'm not big on the you're a chosen one thing. I'm big on like shit just kind of happens to you, but I think like I think that if Kingmaker had more kind of like realistic or like adult elements to it rather than being more of a comedic like, oh, our kingdom's an entire farce situation, which is what it was. Like, it was just one problem after another. It's like, oh man, this land is so cursed. And it's like, yeah, but we don't have to say it. And so that was an issue for me, but I think that it was a good, I do agree with that kind of like origin story I prefer, but I think overall story, Wrath just did a better job with the writing and everything. Just like, the writing was phenomenal in Wrath compared to Kingmaker. I think Kingmaker's writing is good, but Wrath was so much better, and I felt like every choice I was making was so freaking significant most of the time. Like, it was just like every big decision that I had to make was really going to like impact something, and I really enjoyed that. I think they play it safer to attract more people, probably. I mean, it's the first time anyone's really done that with a tabletop game. Besides, like, there's like the Baldur's Gate games and everything, but like Pathfinder was still such a huge undertaking that no one had really done before. So I totally get if they did that to like attract more people. I 100% understand that. Makes perfect sense. Make it more fun and light in certain areas so that you get like a wider audience, because there are still some dark elements in it, just not as much. Yeah, we already had Diablo, Pillars, Path of Exile for all the dark gothic vibes. True, Pillars of Eternity, the first one especially, is very dark and gothic, and it's also one of my favorite games.
So speaking of the Chosen One narrative, there was a tweet maybe just last night. I think it was Sarah Zed, which was like, she was saying, with all of our discussion of Chosen One narratives, right? Because lots of sci-fi and fantasy kind of has to. I understand why it happens. Because sci-fi and fantasy worlds generally build up this huge mythology and things of sort of like an epic proportion kind of scale.
Yeah.
And the plot lines tend to be pretty complicated, actually, right? Pretty advanced, pretty high stakes, right? And so the Chosen One narrative does two things. First of all, it simplifies the narrative itself, right? And then it gives the audience a very clear way through and like how to navigate this world in particular. So, and Chosen Ones are almost always like outsiders of some kind, right? So that the lore and plot can kind of be explained to them in time, right? So that's why it's just sort of a natural function of the genre that it will often be part of it. And I think this is especially true for stuff like movies, right? Because you have a very limited time frame to kind of get your story across, right? So, but the thing is, like, people say is like, oh yeah, the Chosen One narrative, you know, can be challenged by saying it's not so great to be the Chosen One. And her insight was like, virtually every Chosen One narrative emphasizes how hard it is to be the Chosen One.
Yeah, the Chosen One is like, there's like huge moments of every Chosen One story where it's like, God, I wish I was just not a part of this anymore.
Yeah, or at the very least, not at the center of it. Like, no matter what, like that's not a critique of the Chosen One narrative. That is a feature of it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You know, I totally get it. Like, with the scope of everything, it's like, because if you're not the Chosen One, it's just like, in Wrath of the Righteous example, if you weren't the Chosen One, why the hell would anyone put you as leader of this military campaign? Yeah. Like, you have, like, unless you also get forced to have a, like decorated military background, there's no way you would become the leader of the crusade like you did, unless you were this chosen character. It's the only way to do it. To like fit the entire story that they want to make happen.
I never watched the Homestuck trilogy video. I just didn't really get the reference, but just kind of randomly watching one of her videos got me into American Vandal, which is like one of my favorite new shows, actually. So yeah, it's an excellent channel.
I think another thing that's cool about Kingmaker, though, is like, on top of not being a Chosen One, you're also like not even really a main character, because it like the big villain in the game, Nyrissa, it's really her story, and you're just one of the many kingdoms that she's trying to destroy for her curse. She has to like destroy 1,000 kingdoms or whatever, and so like you're just one of the kingdoms. You're just like even more insignificant than you thought. The only thing that makes you significant is at the end, you're the only one who's able to defeat her. Which is pretty crazy to me. I think that is a cool thing about Kingmaker. Like, there are literally other kingdoms that are bigger and better than yours that are neighboring you and could just wipe you out easy. So it's interesting. Let's go.
The other thing I kind of want to ask was, like, it seems like there's basically a narrative that you play through as the protagonist of Kingmaker or Wrath of the Righteous, and each class just kind of gives you a different flavor of it. That's fair to say?
Yeah, it's just your background knowledge, basically.
Okay, so, and then certain things you determine vis-a-vis your choices, but at the end of the day, Kingmaker is about building a kingdom, right?
Yeah. And
Wrath of the Righteous is about going on crusades.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no other thing that it really can be. as it were. I guess in a way, every Pathfinder campaign in the tabletop setting is gonna be determined at some level by the DM's vision for that particular campaign.
Yeah.
So unless something really weird happens, it's not that different from a pretty standard tabletop campaign where it's like, yeah, this campaign is basically about this thing, right? And then, you know, how you play your character kind of flavors it. Do you think that's a fair assessment, or?
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just that the developers have, you know, become their own DM, and in this game you can't really change the DM's mind like you can in a tabletop sometimes. There's no negotiating in the video game.
Yeah.
That's like the main difference to me. Yeah, Igor says Keymaker is literally, congratulations, you're our 999th king. Come get your prize. Yeah, you're literally like the last one she needs before she can break the curse. Mythic Paths give some more choice on how the story progresses, at least. Yeah, the Mythic Paths in Wrath of the Righteous are like flavor, but also really like change the outcome of the story, because they change what units you can recruit. They change like what how you come across different main story elements, and they like change the ending completely.
I think, yeah, so there's the thing of, like, you can't really change the DM's mind. You can't really talk to the DM. You can't, like, kind of, you know, flavor stuff to your heart's content if you both agree on it. And then the other thing is that, you know, like, you're given choices, right? You're given, like, 3 or 4 choices for any given interaction, right? Which is so different from the sort of qualia of being able to literally talk to the character who, yes, is being made up by the DM on the spot. It doesn't have like their own, you can't visually see the character. They don't have their own individual, you know, model and voice actress and stuff like that. So on some level, it's like less immersive, right? But on another level, it's more immersive because it really does have the rhythms and tenor of and variety of human conversation. Right? So it's because like that's. At the end of the day, and I think we know this, and I think you agree, it's like, for tabletop especially, like, what is most key to the game is interaction with NPCs.
Yeah, true.
Combat is, you know, necessary for variety.
Yeah. And I think, like, that's the thing is, like, when you're writing a video game, you can account for, you know, as many dialogue options as you can, but at the end of the day, you're not going to account for every single thing that a person could think of to say. And their interactions are always going to be limited by the fact that we have to choose dialogue and respond with pre-written dialogue, whereas in a tabletop, it's a natural conversation between character and DM. Aeon and Trickster endings just wow. Tobias says, you mean the Trickster ending Mr. Unsung skipped? Listen, I already apologized for that. Alright. Okay, I skipped it. I know. I thought that was an option for everyone, that you could just rewrite what you did instead of the actual Trickster ending. I am sorry.
I think you might have hit a raw nerve.
It was a big upset in my chat when that happened. It was not good.
We don't talk about that mistake in this house.
Tobias, you should also on the Discord, you should find the did you find the poll to put in your whatchamacallit, your name for Wildermyth? That way we can make you a character. We need warriors. We have no warriors. It's a fun time. Give me something good. Heck yeah.
Nice. I did horribly this game. Fortunately, nothing matters. Kind of like life.
Now I have a cliff fort and a dragon lair.
Oh, you have multiple investments. Fuck me. It's like that. It's like that meme. What was it? How's life going, Mr. Rogers? I'm not very good at it, but it doesn't matter.
Okay, so Tobias, you're Zins then. Zins. I see that. Okay, cool. Like, can't you reload your last save and record the ending slides onward? I mean, I could, but the mistake is already out there.
Can never be
Nice.
done.
Thanks, Tobias. It's gonna be fun to put you in the next campaign, because I think this campaign, we're in the last chapter of our current campaign, and we'll probably just end it with the characters we have. And then you and Pondor will be two of our first for the next one. So that's very exciting.
And this isn't like XCOM where most of them die horribly, right?
No. We've had
that was traumatic.
We've had one die so far, and when they do die, it's not like, oh, you just lost a soldier, go train another one. It's like actually like you can choose to have them maim first. Like you can lose a limb, like an arm, and then when they die again, you could lose a leg before they actually have to die. But this character that died so far is not one of the Discord people. It's just a random character, so we just had him die.
Okay.
We're just like, just sacrifice yourself to kill the monster.
Hold up. Say leg for me.
Leg.
Okay. Do you sometimes say leg?
Leg? That sounds weird.
Yeah.
Leg? I just say leg. Like whatever's fastest. Leg.
I heard you say leg, which is weird because
Arm and a leg.
that's like a Midwestern thing, and then apparently also rural Washington, like a Pacific Northwest thing, is eggs and legs.
A lot of my years, like my being 5 and 6 years old, like when I was learning how to pronounce a lot of like certain like more complicated sounds, I was in Minnesota, and my friend's mom, like she taught me how to say the word three because I couldn't make the thruh sound, the thr. And
Okay.
she had to teach me to do it because my parents were too busy fighting to do it for me. So she taught me how. She could have accidentally taught me other pronunciations of things as well that I don't remember. But I pretty much go with whatever's the laziest, quickest pronunciation of words most of the time.
Okay.
Because I talk faster that way. I started another XCOM 2 playthrough like yesterday. Oh, buddy. XCOM is so good. I love XCOM 2, but if I play it on stream, I want to do it modded, and modding XCOM 2 is actually kind of a pain in the ass compared to modding other games, so I don't care for it. I think you actually did really well. Like,
We'll see.
you've got a lot of points. You don't have like the most in any category, but you do have a lot of tokens overall.
I'm the last. Okay, I gotta go for one of these, I think.
Yeah. I mean,
But
bucket
I don't
list.
think I'm gonna win on money, so I gotta try and get one of these.
Yeah,
We'll
if
see
you
I
can
a
get
black space.
if you can get like a fortune or a knowledge one.
No, if I can get a black space at all, then I'll get a crown in one of the categories. And I didn't get a black space. All right.
Well, I think I'm trying to get.
Life's a bitch, and then you die. That's why we get high. That's what people come to this stream for, right? Is
Yes.
you know, Illmatic references. Yeah.
Whoa!
Wow.
One last
I get one
action.
more shot. Yeah.
Oh man,
wow, dude.
I didn't get a fortune thing. I was trying. I'm like one away from being max on
Play the lottery. Play the lottery.
But
That'll give you some money regardless.
that was a bummer.
Yeah.
Let's
Hey.
go.
Nice.
Nice. Everyone gets another turn. You're welcome.
Yeah, one away. You had complete control over that situation.
It was in my control.
What?
All right, Victor. I just see like one of the reasons why I thought Victor was a person is because I don't see VIK Victor a lot. Like I usually see VIC.
Oh, VIC. Gotcha.
So I was like, I don't know, man.
Two red spins in a row, classic.
Oh no! It doesn't matter what I spin.
I think this might end it.
Yeah,
Like,
if I get a
you
one,
to go,
I
and then I don't think Joshua gets to go or whatever. Is it Victor? Is it Joshua? No, it's Victor. Joshua goes for. Who cares? They're not real people.
Let's sell some houses. 306 isn't terrible.
No, for what you invested, no, it's a great return on your
Let's
investment.
sell my other house, buddy. Come on, give it to me. That's a bit more. I wanted the 1,000 though.
Oh well.
Oh well. Let's go for a bucket list just in case.
Go for a bucket list, yeah.
I could get it. Come on.
Get the investment.
Come on.
You could tie for investments. Yeah.
Son of a.
Do they stack that one? Like, is it change the algorithm to make it much more likely to land on red? It feels like
it's a weighted spinner. It's a weighted spinner.
10% chance.
Weighted spinner. Okay,
But,
Victor.
look, I'm not.
my God,
literally,
Victor.
it's literally a question. Wow, this is terrible. Because I don't have any investment properties or anything, and then also, yeah, no crowns.
Victor, you son of a
bonuses, and I have debt. Wow, but also it doesn't even really matter because Victor completely mopped the floor with us. It does not matter. Like fighting it out for last
If I had
place or
gotten
whatever.
If I had beaten him on the fortune one, I would have beaten him. I would have beaten him. Yeah, if you transfer that
That's so much
400
more
over to
money.
me, I would have won.
What? No, look.
Oh, I was at.
No. It's dead. Oh, it's a dead heat.
I was
no,
at.
no. You would be over 2,400. You would be sitting around 2,300.
I was at 20. I was at 20,000. I don't know why it went down to 1994, but.
Because you had a loan.
Oh, forgot about the loan.
Yep.
Shit. I was
All right.
doomed. Son of a bitch. I came in second. Let's
Master's
go.
degree, check. First job, mage, check.
Master's degree, mage, 2 houses, 2 happiness, 4 wealth,
2
5
happiness, 5 knowledge, check, check. 4 wealth, that's a little high. No, I was just
You got
comparing
the
it to my
same as
actual
me
life.
on all of those.
Yep. I just got less lucky, I guess. I don't know. This crab is fishy. Incorrect. Fish are not crustaceans.
Got him.
Learned some marine biology facts. And not a single child was born in this game. Did you just listen to what I said? Okay. I've never had sex. Okay.
Oh,
You hand me a condom. I think it's a glove.
I've never met a Victor. Might have to do with me living in Sweden. I think the hard K is quite common here, like Victor, Eric. Oh, okay, you never met VIC Victor.
Oh, never
I
met a
got you.
VIC Victor. Interesting.
I swear to
Okay,
God,
cool.
like Jonathan and Pondor and Sly, and then my IRL friends are like the only people who are actually American born, and like everyone else I talk to is like from Europe, which is cool. That's cool as hell.
Yeah.
But,
We've also got a Korean viewer.
Yeah.
I want to say
we had
yeah.
yeah she popped in some when I streamed in the mornings before.
Yeah, kind of like, well, because, yeah, I mean, she's on the same time zone as me.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I'm American-born, but I don't live in America, so there's that much. My brother is a Victor with a C, but K is weird here. Interesting.
It's okay. Sex is overrated. I hard agree with that. It's very overrated.
Okay.
Very people get
Shots
too
fired.
people get too worked up over it. In fact, I think. Yeah, I like that. Man, I just want to I honestly want to just buy the other worlds just to cause why not? But that's money.
Don't choose life.
You get 5 worlds for $25. That's $5 a world.
You're listen, dude. You're on thin ice with your wife. Okay, don't push it anymore.
Alright, we're gonna play again.
What is this on our credit card statement? The Game of Life 2 booster packs? You're sleeping on the couch tonight, okay.
Meanwhile, it's 5 in the morning for you. Oh man, look at you popping in on stream at 5 in the a.m.
Wow.
It's 10 o'clock over here.
Because you also have daylight savings time.
Yeah, which is
that would well yeah. Yeah, that would make sense. So yeah, because it's like basically +6, right?
daylight savings. Woo.
Yeah, which I don't have. Oh, the new code is in the Discord.
Oh, buddy. All right.
Yeah. Excitement.
One of these days,
Literally.
Yeah, the reason no one's gonna join us is because no one buys this ridiculous game.
No one knows what. Okay, but here's the thing. Yeah, no one owns this game. No one buys this game. But you know, even fewer people than no one buy DLC and expansion packs.
We already, you guys literally bought the deluxe version, so don't get at me.
I was under peer pressure and probably hungover. Okay, don't with me.
Where's my yellow?
We got another Joshua? No, I don't want another Joshua. Get
Nope.
out of here, Joshua.
No
Paige,
Josh.
all right. Paige and Kurt, hell yes. I'm about it. Oh, we went with the spooky level this time. We're gonna do.
Oh, we're doing spooks.
Halloweenies. Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah, I got a bit of the post Halloween blues. You might have seen I posted it to my Instagram. It was like I'm devastated over the fact that Monster Mash is not the song itself, but it is about a song called Monster Bash, which we have never heard. And yeah, since I saw that, I also haven't slept.
I am a kid studying witchcraft on the side. That is my spooky theme.
Do you understand? They did the Monster Mash, but you don't actually know what the Monster Mash sounds like.
Why is this the fantasy map?
What?
Why is this the fantasy map?
No, that's just your load screen. No, wait, what? It just appears as different things on each of our.
I don't have the spooky map.
You don't have it, so it appears as fantasy.
So these really are just the same. These boards really are just the same.
Yeah, the layout
board.
is exactly the same. So, folks, mine is spooky, and for Unsung's, it's fantasy because he doesn't have this map.
That is
Just
unfortunate.
let him play on my map.
Wow.
Wow. Incredible. But you know what? It's on brand. You know what? This is appropriate to the Unsung NPC channel.
That is hilarious. Oh my god.
Wow. Y'all seen Shang-Chi? I have not. Maybe I will this weekend.
I have not.
You have not. Okay. Aquafina's in it, right?
Is she?
Pretty sure.
I think so.
Pretty sure. Not that I like watch everything that she's in necessarily, but I am a fan ever since I saw.
I saw Raya, the dragon animated.
Ryan the Last Dragon.
That was good.
Yeah.
I liked it a lot.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be Samwise Gamgee. I'm gonna be a gardener.
A gardener. Is that a spooky career option?
It looks like it's also on yours. I would assume that it would be fantasy style. And then let's immediately order takeout.
For 100K.
I am in love. For 100K. Look.
Is that like your
I'm very
takeout
much-
over
I'm
the
very
course
much
of
in
like
love.
5 years?
I would hope so. God, what's the girl's name? What's Sam's wife's name in Lord of the Rings? Damn it. Scissorhands dude was a gardener, was it? Edward Scissorhands? Edward Scissorhands, yeah, that's true. He did, yeah, very, kind of landscaping. Very, very artisanal landscaping of sorts. Less gardening, because he didn't like plant stuff. Because how can you do that with scissor hands? I would say that Edward Scissorhands was more of a landscaper. And he also did ice sculpting. I talked him out of it in the past tense. He's still alive. He's like immortal, right? So
I went camping.
And yes, Edward Scissorhands is real. Fight me, IRL.
Tobias, cool, yeah. I definitely want to watch it at some point. It's on my list. It's just a matter of finding the time to do it. But yeah, I definitely want to, because I loved Raya the Last Dragon. That was such a good animated film. I feel like it was probably like not as good, but up there with like Big Hero 6, which I thought was also a good film.
Big Hero 6 was a fucking mess.
I loved Big Hero 6.
It had a lot going for it, but it was a mess, in my opinion.
I thought there was so much like, I don't know, some like cutesy funny stuff, which I thought was good.
Yeah, well that was very much it. Was that like it kind of tried to paper over all of its problems in terms of like pacing and motivation and weak antagonist and all that stuff, with Baymax being cute, which works a lot. I'm not gonna like dispute that, but it doesn't mean that the other stuff like doesn't exist whatsoever.
Raya was cool because like the antagonist is like a world-eating entity, not like an antagonist. Well, I guess
they've been kind of moving away from that.
I guess there was more of an antagonist in like the other nation's daughter was kind of more of an antagonist up until like the end, but the big bad was definitely. As an English teacher, I should know big bad does not mean that that's the antagonist.
Correct.
So, yeah, it was good. I liked it a lot. Just like, it's cool. It's like kind of a fantasy setting almost, but it's also like post-apocalyptic as well in certain areas. Because everything's dead.
Right. There's, I'm trying to remember. That's been kind of a trend with like family-friendly and animated films recently, is to try to move away from the bad guy, good guy narrative. So, for example, Wreck-It Ralph 2 doesn't really have a direct antagonist. Frozen 2, to my memory, doesn't, but I remember like maybe 10 minutes from that movie. So, the point being that, like, I'm not entirely surprised to hear that Raya doesn't have a villain, so to speak.
Yeah, Frozen 2 was more of like both Frozen movies, I feel like with this story from one to the next was kind of, there's a lot more of like finding home, coming of age stuff rather than like a direct hero versus villain type scenario. Like there was a villain in Frozen 1, but like the main point of the movie was really Elsa coming to terms with her like ice powers and being comfortable with it. Mm-hmm. And like the villain was a weak ass villain who was more of a side plot than anything else.
Yeah, just something to, well, basically someone to like make a third act happen.
Yeah.
Essentially, yeah.
Yeah. Frozen 2 has a story. I thought Frozen 2 was immensely better than Frozen 1.
I do not agree with that. I would say that Into the Unknown and Show Yourself are both very good songs. And The Next Right Thing are all very good. I would say that on the whole, the songs, neither one do they like knock it out of the park every time. But Frozen 2, I think, on balance, the songs are better. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely say that the songs are better. I liked I just liked the story better. Like maybe like there were definitely some writing things that maybe one was technically better or something like that. I don't know, but I thought Frozen 2's like story grabbed me more than Frozen 1's did.
I read that Elsa's hair is more detailed than Rapunzel's. There's like 200,000 individual
Jeez Louise.
I don't know, actually, like assets in her hair, actually, and like there's a whole physics and lighting engine just for her hair in particular.
That's insane.
Yeah. And like no, I mean the character design, because they actually redesigned some aspects of her for Frozen 2, and I think it looks fantastic. Like they did a great job with the look of the character. But it okay. As a story, it is somewhat meandering.
I mean, I like the idea of like, I like the idea for the story though. Like, I mean, at the end of Frozen 1, I pretty much was sitting there thinking like, there's no way she's going to live here forever. Like, no one's ever people aren't gonna like 100% accept her, and she's gonna feel like she belongs here. So, Frozen 2 being about her finding really her own place to belong in, I felt like was good. The sister on sister stuff does get annoying after 2 movies, though. It's just like constant battling between them in the first one, and then again in the second one as well. It was like, I thought we had like worked most of this out, and we're still just whining at each other as adults. So I was a bit bothered by that, because like my brothers and I like had our issues, but realistically, like we don't whine at each other rarely.
Well, hold on, but like there's some pretty serious baggage in that relationship in particular. Like she locked herself in a room and didn't talk to her for years. Like I don't think that's entirely fair.
But wasn't that like, I mean, yeah, but the parents had a big fault in that though.
They did. Oh yeah, they definitely raised her wrong, and like that was definitely a problem. But it just in terms of like trust, right? I mean that's the whole thing. Is like those trust issues will not just go away because, you know, Anna made like one big grand gesture or whatever, or, you know, that Elsa claims to have accepted her or whatever, right? Those trust issues are gonna keep going. But I understand what you mean, like, as a, you know, in terms of characterization, I will defend it. In terms of a movie, it is kind of repetitive.
Yeah, well, it's also like the main argument issue they had was like, it was like in the second one, Elsa was just trying to like not let Anna like get in danger the whole time, and it's like, do you not realize all of what she did the entire last movie? The girl can handle herself.
Yeah, they pointed that out. It was sort of lip servicey. Tobias says on screen there's a lesbian marriage on sister stuff, and I'm disturbed. Yeah, people. I don't even know what's up with that. I don't know why people do this shit, but there is like, unfortunately, Elsa Anna shipping, or like people like taking screen grabs of the movies and being like, look at those eyes that they're making. Like, clearly this is like an incestuous lesbian thing. It's like, what is your damage? Like, why is this what you think about? And like, why do you low-key want this to happen? This is so weird. Yeah. I know it's not like the weirdest or pervious thing on the internet by any stretch of the imagination, but like, it's a... I regret to inform you, it is a thing.
It's just like, because like if a person is like, ooh, check this out, then it's like, okay, now I question your judgment, because why do you think that's like a good, fun thing to happen?
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing good or fun about that. It's unethical and illegal.
Well, hold on. Adult. We're going here, apparently. Consenting adult incestuous relationships are generally considered to be a victimless crime.
Right. It's fine if you don't plan on, like,
Having kids.
Yeah, if you don't plan on reproducing, it's not as bad. But
So
if you do,
it's a
then it's
sister and
pretty
sister
unethical.
lesbian relationship, it's like, I think that there's definitely still an argument to be made within the family and on a personal level that is unethical because it speaks to a fundamental misunderstanding of what a family is and what appropriate relationships therein are. In terms of like being illegal, no, and honestly, yeah, it would probably be unreasonable for it to be any other way. But yeah, in terms of unethical, probably, but then everyone kind of has their own family history. So like, but at the same time, I don't know, man. Like in terms, like, I mean, there is sort of like this creepy male gazy thing anyway, right? It's like, yeah, man, hot lesbian action. Or it's like, okay, literally sisters, like, odd choice, dude.
Oh man, yeah.
Apparently, I didn't. Okay, I just want to say I didn't start this.
I mean, it is illegal though, right? Like there are states that do blood tests when you get married.
No, not like no one will ever prosecute that. Like that is the thing between consenting adults. No one would ever prosecute that. It's a victimless crime.
Because I thought like Texas at one before, like they used to do blood tests, and then you wouldn't be able to get a marriage license if you.
Okay. Sure, that's being denied a civil document.
Yeah, I mean you could still have the relationship, but you couldn't get married.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like there's one thing about like being illegal. There's another thing about.
Right. So that was my bet. I meant like
yeah.
You're not in most states, at least in America, you're not allowed to get married to someone that you are blood related to, if it's
Correct.
within a certain proximity of
Degree.
blood.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, immediate family, sure. But like in the same way that's like, so homosexuality used to be illegal in Texas before Lawrence versus Texas in 2003. And then from 2003 to 2015, it was legal to be gay, right? But you couldn't be granted a marriage license, right?
Right.
So there's a distinction there. Let's read some of our. Okay. Tobias, I'm in the anime community on TikTok. Trust me, I get around in degeneracy.
I bet.
Let's get political. Sonic Lifa, British singer / biologist. I need you to explain that to me. I know who Dua Lipa is. I don't understand how I am anything like Dua Lipa. And I promise I'm not a biologist.
Also, is Dua Lipa a biologist?
No, because I said the thing before about like how fish aren't crustaceans.
Oh, right. No, my wife's the biologist.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, she studies like oceanography and marine biology.
Oh nice. My wife.
My wife.
So apparently Rita did not know that Borat existed before, and then at one point I said my wife, and then I showed her this looks like the funniest thing like ever. Why have I never seen this movie? We haven't gotten around to seeing it, but I'm concerned about how she'll take it, because that movie goes sideways fast.
Back on the animated films, a solid, what I think is a near perfect animated film, Treasure Planet.
Underrated.
Treasure Planet is an amazing story, amazing characters, and honestly, for its time, beautifully animated.
Yes.
Really good movie.
Very, very unique animation style.
I watched it with Alma. Alma hadn't watched it before. We watched it over the summer, and I mean, just she's crying and in love with the movie. It's so good.
So, okay, Treasure
Planet.
Treasure Island is kind of complex in terms of story and lore. And then Treasure Planet is now taking it to like a sci-fi level, right? It's pretty dense. Can we agree on that? Like,
yeah.
Because I will defend the Black Cauldron to this day, but I 100% understand why it was not successful and why lots of people aren't crazy about it.
I mean, there's like no world building in Treasure Planet.
Yeah, right? And it's like, in a way, like, which becomes a big problem later on.
We're just set to enjoy it in the scope that they give us, and we do, but, like, you could only ever have that movie, really. If you ever tried to make another movie in the same world, we'd be like, okay, but we don't know anything about this world. We know about one planet where a treasure is hidden through a portal, and that's it. And that's all we know.
Yep. Because like Treasure Island is a whole book, and then Treasure Planet, like, yeah, really adds on to the world building in a major way without really having time to tell us. Yeah. Okay. Tobias says, while on the subject, I just want to say I hate how little homophobia and general prejudice towards the LGBTQ plus spectrum is talked about with how recent and still active a problem it is as a bi guy. So, yeah, I think that, you know, and I think it'll vary across cultures, Tobias. I think that in the U.S., we kind of have this, we have this problem where we have these civil rights struggles, and then there's like a big landmark Supreme Court case or a big landmark law that then makes us think that that conflict is essentially over.
Yep.
And that, you know, the cause for civil rights has essentially been won. So there's this sort of post-racial narrative in the United States, you know, as early as like the 1980s. Right?
We also don't like to talk about
Act.
more than one civil rights issue at a time. Like, we focus on one heavily, and then something happens, and then we move on to the next one. Like, we had the whole Black Lives Matter thing last year. When I first moved into this apartment, like, over the summer, there's protests and everything going on, and it was crazy, and everyone's, like, doing everything they can for it, and then stuff moved on, and now, and then we got into, like, Asian American civil rights, and it's just, like, we didn't even really mention Black Lives Matter stuff anymore, and it's just, we're just one-track minds and very ADHD about it.
So, yeah, so, and as this relates to these kinds of issues, especially homophobia, I think, like, with the Supreme Court ruling in 2015, we just basically thought, like, homophobia is over. The gays and lesbians won, is essentially what the narrative was, essentially. Even though there were still issues with regards to, like, workplace protections, things of that nature, right? And there, you know, certainly still discrimination, and lack of representation or representation that's inaccurate or maybe even harmful, right? And so now, as far as that spectrum goes, it seems like the issue is very much on, or, like, you know, the conversation is very much on trans issues, right? And what can happen, and I don't think this happens very often, and I think that for the most part, the LGBTQ community, to the extent it exists, because there's a lot of different, you know, factors and people, right, in that big umbrella, right, are pretty good about this, but, like, it can become a narrative where, like, they're getting the attention, they're, you know, succeeding, right, and then, and that means that we are at a loss, this kind of zero-sum view towards civil rights, right, or socio-political conflicts, right? I remember hearing some of this kind of stuff with regards to Black Lives Matter, right? When I moved into my apartment in Jersey City, my landlord, you know, who's from India, was like, well, why don't we get this sort of thing? And I was like, dude, like, no one's stopping you from, it was a weird conversation, but I was like, dude, no one's stopping you from organizing. No one's saying that discrimination against people from the Indian subcontinent or Southeast Asian doesn't exist, or that it couldn't be important or couldn't be a political struggle. It's just that, well, certain organizers decided to start Black Lives Matter, and now it's gained a lot of steam. But it's not like it's a zero-sum game, if that makes sense. And so, because the issue is now on, now on trans folk in large part, right, or at least that's the media focus. That, you know, that doesn't suddenly mean that you know, bi erasure doesn't exist, or that discrimination against gay and lesbian people doesn't exist, et cetera, et cetera. But I mean, part of why he got into such hot water, which that was exactly the rhetoric used by by Dave Chappelle, right, in his recent special, where he's just like, if trans and if gay and trans people are succeeding, then black people are losing, and like with no regards to like, oh yeah, because these are mutually exclusive categories, right, Dave? You can't. There's no possible way to be both, because that shatters his whole narrative, right? His whole narrative to be trans is white people shit, and that's whack. Essentially, seems to be his whole argument for that show. So that was a long rant, Tobias, but I think that in the U.S. we kind of frame it differently. So like, I think a very like middle of the road perspective is like, what do you mean? They can get married now and they can adopt kids now and everything's fine. We're all cool with the gays here.
Yeah. It gets, yeah. And Tobias says, yeah, I also think that schools don't teach enough about the more common prejudice, like even racism. And I feel like I feel like in high schools we're getting better at it, because even in the high school that I teach at, like we really get into a lot of that stuff, but I mean it depends on the high school. So like I work at a Title I school where like the majority of the students are of a different ethnicity than white, and so like most of the kids are either Hispanic or black, and that's the majority of the student population. And so we talk about things like racism and whatnot because it's prevalent and relevant to stuff that they've had to deal with. But yeah, in the schools with like majority white kids, like my school that I grew up in, we don't talk about that shit at all. Even though the schools with all of the white kids is probably a great place to talk about it, because they're the ones that need to fix it, right? It's something that they need to work on, and if we don't cultivate that awareness among everybody, then it's a big issue. But I mean, below high school, no one really talks about it. That's true. Like in elementary school, if you talk about anything like that, a lot of parents will get upset, and parents like run a lot of public education, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, and Republicans made that a cornerstone issue at the recent elections, and it paid off big.
Yeah, which they shouldn't, because parents don't know shit.
Yeah, well, their whole amplification and then characterization of CRT was pretty much a masterclass in political propaganda, I gotta say. But that is all it is. It's propaganda, if not distortion. Generally distortions, but sometimes just like all-out lies.
Yeah.
Broadly speaking. Yeah, Tobias, that's kind of what I was getting at, was that like we can only kind of speak for our experience.
Yeah.
Right. In terms of this, even though I don't really live in the States anymore, I wouldn't say that I have an in-depth enough understanding of where I am right now to confidently speak on LGBT issues. The only thing I will say is that where I live, it is like illegal to depict, for the most part, illegal to depict like gay relationships on screen, like in like major release film and television. But there is at the same time quite a lot of like gay art and like things with homoerotic themes, etc., etc. So there's that much, but yeah, it is very specific to any culture that we're looking at.
Yeah. My English teacher, my humanities teachers, my sophomore year of high school, had to fight the district to be able to teach us what they wanted, because we wanted to go a whole section where we went over like all of the major religions in like the same amount of detail in each one, and then interview people from different religions and kind of have that kind of conversation about the similarities between them all. And Coppell is a very white Christian town. That's where I'm from. I don't live there, but that's where I'm from. And it was a battle for them to be able to do that. But I'm glad that they did, because I learned a hell of a lot about the similarities between all of the major world religions. And that's just different religions. I mean, getting into like racial stuff and LGBTQ issues and all of that stuff would be even more of a battle, to be honest. Unfortunately.
Igor, yes. In a word, yes. But understanding policy is really, really difficult because there's even less transparency, and like the rationale behind any given policy is never made public. So it's always really like sort of obtuse or like unclear as to why any particular policy is happening and how exactly it is enforced, because there often seems to be exceptions. Like you've probably heard of the Winnie the Pooh ban. Man, Winnie the Pooh is super popular in China. You see Winnie the Pooh like toys and branded shirts and stuff everywhere. So it's like you hear all this stuff, and it's like what I mean is not that this stuff is like categorically false, but that the policy is applied very inconsistently, and there's pretty much no way to understand the rationale because it's never made public. Tobias, totally appreciate it. If I can ask your perspective, because you also mentioned race. From my understanding, like in the UK, the understanding is of civil rights, especially for Black Britons, right, is often framed through the American narrative and how American civil rights came to be, and then since the U.S. went through this period of intense racial discrimination and violence, etc., and came out the other side, that it's like doubly the case that that racism is over and we live in like this post-racial society. My understanding of Swedish politics, little as it is that because it's a very homogenous society, it's like but there are like protections for minority groups. It's like racism is a problem elsewhere, and we kind of understand it and can speak the language, but like that's not really a Swedish thing. That's like not a thing we necessarily have to deal with on a day-to-day basis. Do I have that more or less right? Just curious on your perspective on that.
I wonder what Sweden's like racial diversity in populations is, because I know for like if you look at their like because there's like the singing competition that all of the European countries do, Eurovision, and like a lot of the time Sweden's singer is like a black hip hop artist or a black rapper, which I found interesting.
Possible it's more diverse than I was implying.
Because it's not what you think of when you think of like the countries in that part of Europe, to be honest. Go on a cruise. But it's interesting.
Okay, so there's no official statistics on ethnicity, but around 2 million, almost 20% of Swedes are born in another country. And more than half of those are Swedish citizens. So the most common countries of origin are Syria, wasn't surprised about that, Finland, okay, so ethnically probably, obviously there's a difference in ethnicity. They would probably be like Swede passing, if that is concept applies. Iraq, Poland, Iran, and Somalia.
Finland makes sense because in Finland, to be a teacher, you have to speak Finnish and Swedish.
Oh, interesting.
So that's probably common between both those countries, people going into the other one. If that's a thing.
I heard recently that there's a difference between Nordic and Scandinavian, and I cannot for the life of me remember what it is. I want to say that, like, Finland is Scandinavian, but not Nordic. Like, the Nordic nations are just Sweden, Denmark, Norway, and then maybe Iceland? And then Scandinavia would be all those plus Finland and Greenland. But I'm sure I'll get corrected on that real quick. Or I'll Google it after.
So you're saying like Scandinavian's more like all-encompassing,
way
while
broader,
Nordic is
and then
specific.
Nordic is more ethnic and cultural.
That probably makes
That
sense.
sounds right. Yeah.
That makes sense
I
to
just
me.
don't remember what specific nations we're talking about.
Igor says, here's kind of weird because while it's not the majority over here, but racism is still strong because we just love copying Europe, US, and their hot takes instead of thinking by ourselves.
Yeah, racial hierarchy can. I mean, there's definitely still white supremacy over here. There's definitely an understanding that like whiteness is the most like attractive, the most desirable complexion and ethnicity to be.
So Tobias says there's a dialect that's like Finnish but closely related to Swedish.
Let's see. What am I looking for here? Difference between Scandinavian and Nordic. Okay. In the current scenario, while the term Scandinavia is commonly used for Denmark, Norway, and Sweden, the term Nordic countries is vaguely used for Denmark, Norway, Sweden, Finland, and Iceland, including the associated territories of Greenland, the Faroe Islands, and the Åland Islands. As is often the case, it depends. Geographically, Finland could be considered Scandinavian and at one time was part of the Swedish kingdom. Most Finns are Lutherans, as Scandinavians used to be. However, Finnish is not a Scandinavian language, and Finns are ethnically distinct from Scandinavians. Okay, so actually, it's the other way around.
Okay.
It's the other way around. But yeah. So Nordic is broader, and Scandinavian is narrower. Scandinavian is Denmark, Norway, and Sweden. Nordic includes Finland, Iceland, and the associated territories. Okay. And there we go.
Igor says we were intimately connected to the slave trade, so it's deeply rooted since our colonialism times.
Yeah, and is there a strong culture of colorism as well, Igor, to the extent to which you're comfortable talking about it? Does it more or less break down in the way that we would expect, where like fairer complexions are privileged, etc.? Because sometimes it goes the other way, I know. How are we doing in this game? Do you have any idea?
Oh, they're kicking our asses.
They're kicking our asses?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
That's what we put this game on for, don't worry.
The AIs are real tryhards. Let's be real.
Yeah. So also, how about that Wrath of the Righteous, eh, bud? Get that hot Wrath of the Righteous content right here.
Yeah.
Talking about
Ignore the thumbnail for this
racial
video.
politics in Scandinavia while playing the game of life too.
I'm probably going to change the thumbnail to one that is just like my standard UnsungNPC live thumbnail.
That would make sense, because like, how do you possibly categorize this? I have given you so much money. And then I just lost more. At least I'm still a gardener, so I don't pay much. I make no money, but I pay nothing in tax. Go.
One of the largest political parties is very often referred to as racist that becomes so large after we took in a huge amount of refugees and gave them equal opportunity. That is a common thing in European countries, actually. Italy has a very big problem with people hating the fact that they took in refugees.
Yep.
Very big problem. They were the only country in the World Cup right now to, they only did the kneeling for Black Lives Matter out of respect for the other teams, but they said that they didn't actually care about the Black Lives Matter issue. Because all the World Cup teams were like, let's all kneel for Black Lives Matter across all of our countries, and Italy was like, no, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I
I do understand there's less of a volume of immigrants from like West and Southern Africa in Italy than there are in, say, France, where there's quite a lot.
Yeah.
So I think that is a factor to some extent. Yeah, I mean that was also definitely a pushback in Germany, right? Yeah, right. It's the sort of thing where immigrant populations can be seen as kind of quaint and kind of nice for a while, until it reaches a certain critical mass, and then people start to think, you know, you get into weird shit like Great Replacement and things like that, or you know, they have a sense of a threat to ethnic identity. Just like the second people stop using expat and start using immigrant, you know that the tone has changed in terms of the politics of the given country, right? I mean, so often, like, expats are, like, that word is so often used because immigrant has this stank on it, right? Has this association with it, right? Like, if I use the word immigrant in relationship to myself, people will try and correct me and be like, no, no, you're not an immigrant, you're an expat. It's like, it's the same fucking thing, it's just that I'm white. and I have a college degree. That's all it is. That doesn't change your immigration status. What the hell is wrong with you? Like, you know, but like clearly, like, yeah, we use these words of coding to try and, you know, sort population. We don't have this stigma with the word immigrant. Okay, interesting. Okay. Igor, can I ask you, is it the word immigrant in English, or is it in a different language? So yeah, in terms of Sweden, like we you know, especially there's a problem. I think you're probably at least somewhat aware of on in the American left. Wow, taxes 20. Of sort of idolizing Scandinavia and Sweden in particular, of you know, as this sort of you know, liberal utopia, and you know, without a whole lot of critical thought. And like, look, I mean, I'll agree with to an extent. I mean, I've very much said similar stuff, and that I have the, you know, I think just on a basic level that their social and monetary policies are superior, just like factually superior, better policies that lead to better outcomes. Not just from like a moral perspective, but just from like a practical perspective. They're just better. But that doesn't mean that like there's no racism, right? Or there's no tribalism or anything like that. Of course, it's going to be in any given society. Despite me living in one of the largest local ghettos outside of my mom, I've never met anyone who says they're against immigrants of any kind, or a POC who's told me about a negative race-related, I want to say, experience. Okay. Can I go out on a limb, Tobias, and say that you might be living in a fairly urban, cosmopolitan kind of area? I mean, I guess you're going that, right, with living in one of the largest local ghettos. Yeah. Oh, I forgot I bought a house.
To be fair, I think I have a lot of students that wouldn't recognize a race-related experience if it hit them in the face, even though it's probably happened to them. Because they've been living in it their whole lives that they don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So, it could also be that some people don't necessarily register it either. Oh boy.
I swear, the wheel at the end is weighted towards red. I think it is a different algorithm. I'm not even joking. Oh my god, you're wrecking. You are
Let's
wrecking.
Go!
Alright, I did get a lot of tokens, but I got no crowns.
I might actually have won.
I think you did. Did you take out any loans?
No.
I think you're good then.
Yes! I won! By 600 points!
Yeah, that was not even close. I lost again, really badly this time, like worse than the first time. And you know what? It doesn't fucking matter. Because nothing matters. It's life.
Igor says, it's kind of weird. When I went to the US and Europe, there was a clear distinction between white and non-white people. Like, POC stuck out like a sore thumb in a crowd. Yeah. Yeah, I mean...
especially... Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I mean, because of the way that, you know, because of our history and the way that white people have treated all of those people, like, everyone kind of finds hubs within people of their own or similar ethnicities, and
Put an
because
asterisk on that.
Because it's an asterisk on that, but it can often be like a safer, like in my hometown before high school, I lived in a very low income town called Watauga, and it had a number of white people and a number of Hispanic people, and not all, like, I will say, like, a good portion, okay, a very generalized term, a good portion of the white people hung out with other white people, and Hispanic people hung out with other Hispanic people. And there's cultural reasons for that. There's also historical American reasons for that.
Yes.
So it's definitely a thing. So you can definitely notice when there's like you said, white people and like non-white people walking around sometimes, because I mean, now where I live, a lot of stuff is pretty blended, I feel like, where I live specifically, but there are definitely neighborhoods and towns around where that is not the case at all. And it's very like, you know, hanging out with the same. So.
And I don't want to lean too much into this, but I think that there is a little bit of a biological human nature kind of reason.
Yeah.
In the
you
sense
see
that,
someone
like,
that looks the same as you.
People prefer their in-groups, right?
Yeah. That's why guys
they're
make
more
lots of guy
comfortable.
friends.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Et cetera, et cetera. So, okay, but like with regards to specific communities, I mean, redlining is enormous, right? And
Yeah.
you know, regardless of where you are in the US, like a lot of these people were forced into these specific locations through a combination of business and local political practices that intentionally put them into lower service neighborhoods, right? Where, you know, and even like the presence of non-white people would drive down property values, essentially, right? Simply because of racial prejudice,
Yep.
right? So there's a long and storied history of like forcing people essentially into enclaves, and then they create communities from there. And then when the communities become like too successful and self-sustaining, then American businesses and political entities, right, like you know, boards, right, townships and mayors, etc., would go in and break up those communities,
Yep.
or you would have like literal like terrorist attacks, right, by like the KKK in order to break it up, which would then be met with like indifference by local law enforcement. There's like a long history of this sort of stuff happening in the U.S. And then like what Tobias is referring to in Europe, like literal like what ghettoization means, right, is forcing quote unquote undesirable populations, oftentimes like Jews in Venice, for example,
Yep.
into very specific neighborhoods, right? And those trends will sort of like reiterate themselves over time, right? And it's so interesting, Igor, that you're talking about, and I think it's totally right, but like the distinction that we're making is white, non-white, as if that's like an open shut case on what ethnicity is. And it's so not true, you know? And it's an unfortunate thing. It kind of goes back to what I was talking about earlier. But it's like, if you want to hear someone really talk shit on Mexicans, like, I'm not saying this universally, but like, talk to a Cuban, because like, within quote unquote like ethnic groups, and like the Cuban distinction is very very important, and there's very specific political reasons for that as well. But like these populations that we, you know, think of as Hispanic or Latino, right, are wildly diverse and with, you know, very different historical backgrounds,
Yeah.
Which are not necessarily friendly with each other and don't necessarily you know, build bridges along lines of like experience.
I mean, writer and comedian Ali Wong has talked about how like her family and her husband's family like make fun of other Asian ethnicities like constantly. Like that's just a thing that they do. Like it's completely normal, because for them it is. So it's like there's all kinds of that type of stuff. And I wanted to say something about the ghetto thing, kind of relating to bringing awareness to certain things in schools. We did one of my nonfiction pieces that I had, or one of my informational pieces that I had the kids read one time, was about the original meaning of the word ghetto and how it's transformed within American society, and whatnot. And I thought that was a pretty cool article to bring to the table, given the neighborhood that feeds into the high school that I work at. Because I think
I offer? Sorry, guys.
Yeah, no, go for it. Go for it.
I'm gonna offer you a challenge.
Me?
Can you tie this into Wrath of the Righteous?
Okay, sure. So, in the city of Canabras, there's a huge issue with tieflings because the city is fighting demons for their whole lives. And so tieflings having demon and devil blood are like, oh, you guys are all spies for the demons. And so all the tieflings get pushed into these ghettos in Canabras. That's like actually a thing talked about in the game. They get pushed into the streets, into these ghettoed areas, and they're all forced to live together, and not, anyone else will like have negative interactions with them and look down on them because of their blood, because of their race.
And I think that this is a problem sometimes. So tieflings and drow were brought up immediately.
Well, okay, drow is different because drows actually culturally worship an evil spider queen. That's a choice. Okay.
Did it have to be that way? And I think that I want to look more macro and less on. Of course, according to the internal logic of this world, that is the case. But why?
The creation
right?
of
and this
it.
Goes back also. This also goes back to me. The first thing that comes to mind isn't drow or tieflings work. And we've had this conversation a little bit at this point with regards to Wizards of the Coast. It's like, do inherent racial traits, right? I know that we're not talking about, because like race isn't real among human beings. Doesn't make any sense, right? It's pseudoscience. But like in D&D, we are talking about races. These things are in fact genetically distinct, but at the same time saying that these humanoid intelligent life forms are inherently a certain way because of some biological determinism seems like an issue to me. Like, it doesn't have to be that way.
Oh,
Drow
yeah.
don't have to be this way. Do you see what I mean?
I don't subscribe to the idea that all goblins are evil, for example, because like, I mean, it's like having alignments on like specific monster types and things like that. I've always had an issue with, because how can they all be evil? How is that possible? Mm-hmm. How can they all be that way, right? And with the orcs thing, yeah, I guess I didn't think of that, because in Forgotten Realms, the orcs are mostly in tribes. They're not in the cities mixed in, unless there's half orcs that got disowned by the tribes.
Right.
Which is a whole other issue. Like, you put the orcs as the tribal race, that's another issue on its own in the writing as well. And that's me actually using the word tribal, because they are written as tribes, not me, misusing that word. I would never use that word inside of any other context, but they are called orc tribes. Just so we're clear to everyone. But yeah, literally all of the races and species of creatures that are deemed as these naturally evil or naturally different or naturally seem looked and frowned upon, another thing that's all common between them is they all have darker skin tones.
Yes. Yep. And coding is a thing.
Yep.
We draw on real world experiences in order to make sense of these fantasy worlds, because otherwise it would just be too alien for us to comprehend, or just too complex for any narrative to resolve in a satisfactory way. Yeah. So, but yes, no matter what, like elves are often coded as white. Right.
And even they're like the cream of the crop. Like the palest blondest
Yeah,
creatures are like.
Yeah, but like you could argue that there's an element of like, yeah, but they're snooty and we don't really like them, and elves are rarely like elves, right? Or like there's the one like Legolas who's a bit more down to earth, right? And like generally they're kind of elite, but still,
Yeah.
right? The coding is like very clearly that way. So Igor says like, isn't Khaleesi's tale literally
Yes,
they turn me
I
into
wanted
a
to
drow,
talk
now I
about
want to die
this.
so I can stop being evil
So,
and I can become good again.
yeah.
But like, hold on, like tieflings have archdevil blood, right? Or like they're the result of a pact with an archdevil, and tieflings aren't inherently evil, right?
No, they're not. But that is the quest line. So yeah, you'll hate this, Sonic, because what happened is there's a drow woman. So what happens in Pathfinder is that there's something that corrupts elves and turns them into drow. It's not the same as the Forgotten Realms, where drow are just a species and race on their own. It is the corruption of an elf that turns them into a drow. And they become evil. And that's what makes them drow. And this is even worse, because it's like, so you become evil and get corrupted and thus now have darker skin. That is so bad. That is just so bad. But yeah, that's actually how they work in Pathfinder. In the world of Golarion, which is
In the world of and we're drawing a distinction here between Pathfinder and D&D apparently, because apparently in D&D that's not the case.
yeah, no, they're actually a race of people biologically in D&D in Forgotten Realms.
Yeah. Okay.
But it's so bad.
A race of people which is canonically like associated with negative behaviors and actions and alignments, but it's not that it's some sort of like emergent property of being a drow.
Because you can be a drow in a regular human town and be raised fine. It's just a drow that are raised with other drow, and those drow colonies worship an evil spider queen.
Right, and so like, and I think that speaks to our point, is that you said a drow raised in a human town. Let me ask you a question. What color was that human that you just thought of?
I know. Yeah, it's all problematic. It's all problematic.
Because the humans are all coded as white.
Yep.
And it's because, I mean, fantasy settings are drawing on this, like, medieval European kind of setting. But still, like, we cannot ignore this is racially coded.
I mean, there are, like, I don't know much about Forgotten Realms. I know in Pathfinder, there are definitely different areas of the world where humans are different, have different colored skin. For sure. But, yeah, it's not... It's still, it's like the thing. It's like when it's like, one of the things that like happens in sci-fi games and fantasy games is that instead of being racist against people of like, other humans of different color skin, now all of the humans have banded together to be racist against people that look even more different. Right? That's like the thing.
Like, right, but then if you step outside of this fantasy world for like just 1 second, what do those aliens look like, and are they or are they not coded, right, to align with an ethnic group that exists in reality, because that's the only way that we can like understand this story.
I'd say for the most part, especially in tabletop, yes. There are exceptions. I mean, Mass Effect, the situation in Mass Effect is that all of the other alien races hate humans. So, like, they actually avoided a complete racial issue at all. It's just everyone hates humans. And then
Igor and Tobias are getting into stuff I do not understand.
They're talking about the different worlds of the different nations of Pathfinder.
Okay.
And then
But
Tobias
then
said...
Greenskin, yeah.
Oh, yeah, greenskin. That's what they're called. The orcs... trolls, goblins, they're called literally in World of Warcraft, in Total War Warhammer, in the Warhammer universe, they're called greenskins. They're literally greenskin tribes.
Oh, and Tobias is saying like that's pretty much dead on parallel to Redskin in the U.S.
Probably, yeah. Given the nature of how
Yeah.
they live, yeah.
And given the fact that like most tabletop is written and created by Americans, right? That's why there's the
Yeah.
shit is in feet and inches and stuff like that.
Even
yeah.
worse that these quote unquote greenskins are portrayed as just like, brutal raiding, like primal tribes. It's
so exactly the kind of rhetoric around Native
Yeah.
Americans. Okay.
It's the savagery.
Great.
It's the savagery rhetoric.
Oh boy.
Yeah,
So,
it's so basically all of us here apologize for being fans of fantasy.
fantasy is bad and we should cancel it. No.
Now, there's plenty of content that does it just fine, right? Like, in Dragon Age, everyone's racist against elves. No one's really racist against, like, other things. And the humans are completely, like, color mixed within their countries. And in Mass Effect, like I've already explained. So there are people that can write things correctly. Okay? Because, like, they can. The reason people don't like elves in Dragon Age is because how many of them are attuned to magic, and magic is scary. That's it. It's not even like anything else.
Elves are like inherently bad or something. And let's be clear here. Like, it's not a problem to portray racism.
Right.
If there's intelligent life, if you're portraying any kind of human society or human-like society, you're gonna get in-group, out-group behavior, and you're going to get discrimination. You're going to get conflict. That's fine, right?
Yeah.
To portray
it's the parallels that
But-
make it bad.
Yeah, and are you simply carrying through a very, I'm not accusing anyone, in any of this kind of stuff, be it books, movies, tabletop games, video games, anything, of having like a race realist, white supremacist worldview. Far from it, right? But are they still carrying through, sort of associations, a very specific worldview, a very narrow worldview, and one with cultural coding, as you mentioned, with terms of like literally the color of these creatures' skin, right?
I mean, it goes in with like unconscious bias as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Drawing parallels to reality makes everything racist, to be frank, because everything is racist. And yeah, the problem is just repeating exhausting and hurtful tropes in media. Yeah, and can we, perhaps rather than a fantasy is supposed to be an escape from reality, or it's supposed to be sort of exploring things outside of our understanding or outside of our immediate experience, and it's very disappointing, and it's kind of a disservice to the genre when you wind up just sort of recreating reality in its entirety, recreating all the biases, recreating all the tropes, recreating everything, right? And then giving us, okay, so wait a minute. You're going to tell me that the handsome white man saves the day and gets the girl at the end after defeating the dark-skinned evil creatures? Who would have fucking thunk, right? It's,
Yeah.
And so at the same time, we need, like I said, we need coding in order to make sense of the world, but can't we challenge it in some way? Can't we, go somewhere different with it? Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, like, I honestly, thinking back on, like, our homebrewed campaigns, I think we write things very well, talking about this kind of stuff. Like, in the homebrew campaigns that you have written, that Shane has written, I think, like, we've done a good job as a group of, we obviously draw some parallels. Our whole geography is literally a parallel, but we still have things, I think, that make it definitely feels different than the Pathfinder world or the D&D world, because it's not just like an exact racial parallel to the real world like they are, which I feel like is great. I feel like we do a pretty good job of that in our homebrewed campaigns.
And that's the beauty of tabletop, right?
Yeah.
Is that if you're not happy with a certain narrative, or you want to change something, you just do it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Igor was getting me to talk about streaming tabletop games earlier. So he's like, another reason to stream your games, be the change we want to see.
Hey.
Oh man, I told them I would love to stream tabletop, but the way we do it right now, without using Roll20 or anything, it would be literally like a podcast with a video. Like,
Yeah,
there's nothing to show.
And personally, I'll say, like, especially the campaign we're running now, that wouldn't really be appropriate. Like we definitely want to do that off stream. But hold on, Igar. Theoretically, we could, plan for it and say and create something on Roll20, and say, like, this is a campaign we're specifically going to do on stream.
Yeah, because
right?
I know
that could be okay. Not like the what we've done historically. I don't think that's a good idea. I want some things in my life to not be on YouTube.
That's fine. Yeah, I just know that
you especially do, because you really live on here.
I know that Lobster has talked about, like, how cool it would be to do, like, a tabletop podcast or something to that effect. Or he like, knows someone that streams tabletop on Twitch and whatnot as well. So yeah, it would be cool. It would definitely be something that we planned for specifically, because, I mean, like, for an example, our creation of our homebrewed worlds and everything that we've done so far is so special to us, and we've, like, you've shared it with you kind of shared some new parts of it with a new group, and so have I at this point, but it's still close-knit. Like, it's not with the entire internet. And, it's something that's always going to be special and unique to us that we don't ever really want to, like, it's not something that I would necessarily want to put out there in that kind of way.
Mm-hmm. And I would also think that if you wanted to do a Pathfinder stream, or a tabletop stream on your channel, it should be in the Pathfinder system.
Yeah,
because that's so, like, specific to your channel. So I mean, I would very much be in support of that, if not a part of it myself, then as an audience member, and that'd be great. But yeah, it's pretty different from, like, sticking a microphone and a camera into the thing you do with your friends. In my case, Saturday mornings.
Right? Yeah, because we do end up talking about other personal things and whatnot in our casual group, and it's just not. We don't want to air it out to everybody.
Yeah. Tobias says, if you do try that, look around and see if you really prefer Roll20. I got to be honest, I don't like Roll20.
I don't really like Roll20 either. It seems like it's overwhelming to me.
Yes.
So I would prefer something else as well.
Because Aries, like, it's what he lives, and so for him it's very second nature, but he can get really frustrated with everyone else for not getting it right away.
Honestly, it would be cool to do, like, if we worked together, like, all of us, IRL, tabletop group, and, like, created. If we voiced characters and NPCs, and I was the DM, and we created, like, a video series where it was, like, not full tabletop, because you can't really do that, but, like, somewhat, binary choice type tabletop situation where, like, you have the main video that starts and all the other videos are, like, unlisted, and you can click on, like, I would, like, pose a choice in the video, and then it would click on the choice and then go to that video, and then if you, like, if you have a check that I let you roll, then, like, whether you succeed or fail, you go to that result video, or, like, something like that would be kind of fun. I don't think I've seen anything like that done for tabletop. There are definitely people that do those kinds of videos, especially, like, in the ASMR community, but I've never seen that in tabletop before. It would be really a huge task to do, but it would be kind of interesting. But yeah, I would love to do a stream tabletop at some point. I feel like if we did that, I would need to do it in Pathfinder, and I feel like I would need to be the DM.
It's so funny that you say IRL, because I have not seen you in person in 5 years.
The origination, it's
IRL.
I swear to God, every time I think about us in Denton, I just picture you, me, and Lobster. And, like, it's like one time on a sidewalk where, like, we're running down the sidewalk with our legs, like, spread wide or whatever. Like, we were running really weird or something. Like, I think you did it first, and then Lobster did, and then I was right behind you guys, and we were just like, I have that image in my head every freaking time.
I have literally no memory of this. Was I, like, blackout at that point?
It was when I turned 21, so...
Okay. Probably. Because you don't like to drink that much, so we just drank for you.
That was yeah. I just have that image in my head every time.
Nice.
Igor says, just like soccer, everything already decided before the cameras turn on. Nice. I get that. I follow the World Cup. I understand.
Oh, okay.
We cheer for Bosnia because my wife is was born in Bosnia. So
Oh, interesting.
they're fighting Finland tomorrow. That's gonna be fun. And
So, like, they're not gonna play soccer; they're just gonna get into a fight.
yeah, no, that's how they do it.
Okay.
They just set
Gloves
the
are
ball
coming
out
off.
there. Yeah, they kick it out, and then they just kick it off the field and just start an all-out brawl.
They're going at it.
Speaking of brawling sports, I think there's a new Blood Bowl game that's being made, and I freaking love the Blood Bowl games. It's like fantasy races that play football with no rules. So it's it's just fantastic. Yeah,
Kinda
Blood
like those
Bowl
old
3.
NFL Blitz games or whatever.
Yeah, there's like the Blitz the League games. Yeah, where you can like injury people and like take steroids to get back in the game and whatnot. Oh, your
If
kidney
anyone Finland
ruptured?
would be
It's
the one
fine.
to
We'll
do
just
that.
pump you some drugs and you're good to go.
All right, so
Okay, we're getting into
shots
some.
fired from the suite. All right, hold on. Stop the stream before we get TOS. we have some anti-Finnish sentiment going on. All right, Igor's gonna turn in. Yeah.
All right.
We'll decide what we're gonna do tomorrow and pick this up next time.
Yeah. Good night, everyone. Sonic, thank you so much for sticking around. This was actually a wonderful conversation. I loved every minute of this, and felt like I could participate in every minute of it. And it was.
Thank you for letting me crash the stream.
Yeah, no, it was super fun. Heck yeah. So thanks to all you guys for watching. Igor and Tobias and Jonathan and man, how does you?
Viriato,
Yes.
our friend from Russia.
Miranor, Therence, and our friend from Russia. All you guys, thanks so much for being here. It's been such a blast hanging out with you, just talking, and Tobias. No. Yeah, just great. I mean, we started with Wrath, and we kind of ended with Fantasy Tabletop, so success! Wonderful. I'll see you guys tomorrow, hopefully, at the stream. And yeah,